Welcome to the Hellmouth.
Hello?
Hello.
I did the thing. We are live. How's
Hello.
it going? It's been.
I think Adam may or may not be
He's
in
still
here.
AFK.
He may be still AFK.
Okay.
I believe he was going to go get coffee and whatnot. So.
That is okay. It took me a little longer than 10 minutes too. So.
What all the fuck's happening here? Even are we live now? Are we actually going?
We are actually going now. We are live. And I still have from like a month ago, which is the last time we did this, the text that I put over Avi's thing that says strange noises. So that's what I'm gonna put up when she's feeling a little, strained. And then if I can, I'm gonna make a similar one for Adam that's like evil laughter or something.
Oh yeah.
Let's get this one going. So, hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
I mean, I was fine until I got on this.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Now we're here, and we should probably get out of the way before this devolves into like a bitter snipe fest.
Yeah.
Well,
we should probably get out of the way the stuff that we've been doing that's not related to Silent Hill.
Yeah, we could do that before basically you guys just hang up and I'm just sitting here going, well, that was.
Yeah, they're not talking to each
Hellmouth.
other now. We might not be doing one of these
for another month.
I'll see you guys next time.
They seem upset.
Yeah. I've been doing Dark Souls, Hollow Knight. I got way back into Ark. God, in the month that we haven't done this, there were quite a few things. Some Dark and Light in there.
They had to add some stuff to it, right?
No, they haven't released it yet.
Released. It gets released, I believe. Well, the date for a while was the 8th of September, but I think it's been pushed back like a week or something.
They haven't released it, but what they did is they doubled the price.
Yeah, so if you guys got it for $15 at the Humble Bundle, like I did way back in the day, they'd be golden.
I think that Ark was the best $15 I ever spent. And I certainly couldn't have got more fun out of, for example, I don't know, packet of cigarettes.
Yeah.
So, I recommend it to everyone who wants to do Minecraft in a 3D environment.
That's right, you do.
Ark is a game that exists, and there's dinosaurs in it and everything. What's happening in Ark at the moment, you two?
We just reset a map, so
yeah, they have a new map.
Yeah, your boy and I who tend to we've been playing PUBG too, but your boy and I tend to get into it's pure Schadenfreude, just that's
I recommend it for $60? I don't know, it depends on how much you enjoy building shit, I think.
Well, it's not just about building. That just happens to be what I do in it. There's also, the whole idea of collecting all the dinosaurs. They all have different ways of being tamed. Like the new maps are crazy. There's so many different things you can find on those maps. If you're an exploring person, if you like exploring games, then it's totally up your alley too. Not only that, I recently
strikes me as one of those make your own fun games.
That is exactly what it is. Yeah,
you can do that, and you'll
not only that.
Fun. You're probably good.
Not only that, I've just recently discovered how fun it is to do the boss fights.
Yeah.
Like saving up, getting all the stuff ready to get the best weapons, get the best dinosaurs, and it's like raid bosses and WoW, except for I find it actually a little bit more.
Sorry, Corporal Bob. What I meant was Minecraft in a non-shit looking 3D environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not pixelated 3D. It's more realistic, and even then, you could even argue that it's very stylized. So, awkward smile.
Got our three, yeah. Got our three
Why
things
is
ready.
mine evil laughter?
Because you're evil.
I don't really mind. I'm just.
But
what is it? Yeah. So you guys have been playing a lot of Ark.
Yeah. I've been doing the role play thing. She's been doing the exploring the environments thing. I'm actually kind of sad because when you do the role play thing, like we did a role play thing, and our theme last time we did the role play season on Twitch RP was that it was factions based. So there was 3 different factions, and you didn't really want to go into somebody else's faction to get caught because then they might just like throw the hammer of God down on you and like try to kill you and chase you out of their territory. So it made it kind of hard to like actually get a chance to explore the maps. And like I said before, like I like building stuff, but I'm also all about the exploring thing. So I haven't even gotten a chance to really look into the map of Ragnarok. So I'm actually considering jumping over on Jade's server and
you're welcome.
Getting a chance to like go around and stuff. Also, I really want to get on and show you guys all the stuff that I know now since I've been playing it so much that I know how to breed and how to do all that kind of stuff now that I didn't know way back in the day when we were playing it together. So it would be fun to do that too.
Yeah.
Cool, Bob. It's actually okay because now that the meme about me loving Amnesia and it being the best game in the world is a thing, I don't actually have to work. You guys do it for me. You propagate it for yourself, so I'm good.
See, now you understand why I go to the meme.
Power of
It's because I'm lazy.
It's just worthless. It's just work. It's just work for free. It's brilliant.
Yeah, your chat just makes all your memes up for you, don't they, Adam?
Oh, one of them that I've ever had.
Hashtag it's not a cult.
That'll be it.
And
that's
then
the full list
Amnesia.
of my memes.
Well, yeah, no, I've just been doing stuff like that. I started doing afternoon streams to kind of play things that, when I may necessarily want to play it, but not necessarily in the night when people know when I'm on. Yeah, so I've just been.
I appreciate daytime streams. So.
I tried out the Long Dark.
How was that?
It's all right. I feel like I need to play it in challenge mode because they have a story mode. But the second
There's a story in Long Dark?
Yeah, the second you break your hatchet, everything sucks. Like, you're just back to picking up sticks. Because apparently you find, like, tools and other stuff, but you can't fix the hatchet with the tools. You can't make your own out of, like,
Is that a bug, or is that actually designed that way and is shit?
I think it's just designed that way. I think it's still in some kind of early access state, but I'm not sure. So
I thought it was released.
What are you talking about?
The Long Dark.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it came out.
Maybe it is, but
there's not come out yet.
It's I don't know. I feel like they're still adding stuff to it.
Came out, quote unquote,
Maybe it did,
but who knows?
Oh, fair enough then. So you've been playing some Long Dark, you've been playing some Minecraft, you've been stuck in your never-ending Dark Souls anthology.
Yeah, I'm gearing up to do some 12 hours of scary shit. Was this the shitty horror games, and then I'd like to play.
Any good games for that at all, or is it just garbage?
Well, I have a list. I'm just not sure what I'm going to get to. I haven't like solidified a list yet. For the good stuff though, I'd prefer to like do its own stream. Like I'd like to play Observer.
Observer's good. It's not a horror game. Yeah, but it is good. It's a cyberpunk murder mystery.
There were
like that.
Yeah, there were a couple others that I had on my list too, but no, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Doesn't Ark still run like shite? Ark didn't even run like shite when I was playing it.
No,
so I doubt it does now.
It still has some what do you call it? Back end.
It's been optimized, but it's still got some work. It runs better than it did. That's for sure.
There's horror elements though. No, I don't know. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines has horror elements in the same way that Observer does, which is to say, not really. It's a great game, but it's not really a horror game anymore. Oh, who was that? Somebody just tried to post a link. Malgrep. On sale on Chrono GG the other day. It was.
There you go.
Even the other day. It was indeed. And you got layers of fear free with it, which is...
that's pretty cool. Yeah. I saw that a few people were playing it, but yeah.
I think Ark is one of those things where you kind of need a PC that's, absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
To make it just like smooth as silk. And then when you're playing it on smooth as silk PC, you're like, well, why is it a problem for everybody else? And then everybody else is like, because we don't all have Titans, you smug cunt.
That's true.
I think that's...
Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo's right, though. You've always said that in Bloodlines, the most horror element of Bloodlines is the Ghost Hotel.
Yeah, the haunted house bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100% the best part of the game as well.
Yeah.
Easily the best part of the game. In fact, I was really, let's just say, drunk when I first played it. And I got terrified in that bit. Like, I was really frightened after about 10 minutes in that part. I don't know if it was because but definitely a thing.
I think that, like, in general, you can kind of look at Vampire the Masquerade, even like the tabletop game, and then also the game and everything like that, as like a good game system based in a horror idea, but not necessarily always a horror game. That makes sense. Like, you can have like a tabletop game of Vampire the Masquerade that is scary, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be a horror game.
I mean, the Observer isn't a horror game. It's just because it was made by Bloober and Aspire, but it simply isn't a horror game. There's a couple of like jagged moments, but that happens in any old fucking shit. And the game is a murder mystery. It's Blade Runner to all intents and purposes. It's so much more that Neuromancer, Blade Runner, Minority Report than it ever will be a horror game. But that's okay. You know, it's good that it's a great game, and it's nice that Bloober are continuing to make really interesting titles, and it's still doing that thing that they do so well, which is not outstaying its welcome, which is like big failing of horror games in general.
Yeah,
Bloober one of the things that I loved about Layers of Fear was it didn't feel like it went on forever. Like, it went on, it did its thing, and it was done.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the same. Like, a full playthrough of Observer without knowing Jack Dick is like 6 hours, 7 hours long.
Oh, sweet.
It's hard because it is a horror game. No, it isn't. It's not a horror game from any perspective.
What you were talking about, you boy?
Observer. It's not Observer. From any perspective. It's not a psychological horror. It's not a body shock horror. It's not a jump scare mechanic simulator. It's not a atmospheric horror. It's a cyberpunk murder mystery. Without real question.
I can't really talk on it because I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet.
It's great though. Everybody should play it. It's great. Absolutely, you should play it, and so should everyone. You should especially play it, Avianna.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
Like, more so than anyone.
Yeah, because I love the horror aspect of things, and then I also like cyberpunk. So
how long did? I think it'd be 12 hours. How long did it take you to finish Layers of Fear? Like 5 hours, 4 hours, maybe, right?
I believe I finished it.
You finished in about 9 minutes.
Well, I can finish it in 9 minutes. I believe the first time I played it was two episodes long. But that's because I was trying to do as much as I possibly could and explore everything.
Oh yeah. No, Jade, how long did you finish Layers of Fear in?
Oh God.
Like 5 or 6 hours?
I think so. I think I did it in a stream. I may have stretched it out to 2 streams, but I'm pretty sure I finished it in a stream, like in about a 6-hour stream. I know I finished that initial, the first one, like the demo or whatever, in like a couple of hours, and it wasn't much longer than that. Like,
you want more horror games that have less jump scares and more mindful. We all do, but then you use a Serbian film as your definitive of that. And a Serbian film is pointless, exploitative trash.
That's right. I played Dusk the other day. That's a really good. It's like a
Dusk.
Doom, but Doom on cocaine, because it was just really fast. It was faster than Doom. Like,
that's quite fast then.
Yes.
Wait, which game?
It's called Dusk. It was called Dusk. Yeah, it's very much the same kind of shooter as Doom, and very very fun and throwbacky. I think you would probably like it. It was just really really fast.
I mean, I played Observer this week and last week, and that's, we've talked about that, but that is definitively one of the better games I've played recently, and well worth a check out.
Yeah.
Exploitative trash. What, you mean the Serbian film? Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, trash might be dignifying it quite a lot, but exploitative for sure. Yeah, what else we been going up to then? So you've done some Dark Souls. Where are you at with that?
Getting ready to fight the dancer, the Boreal Valley.
Oh,
that'll be fun.
I mean, for the audience, sure. Yeah. After like the first hour, it might get less fun.
Yeah, I mean, with the summons, I'm hoping that it'll.
Are there many summons around Dancer? There are a few, aren't there? 1 or 2.
I don't know. I every time I get near one, I kind of forget that's a part of the game now at this point, and so I'm always like, "Is there a summons?" And people just answer. So.
There probably is something around there, isn't there? It's
so.
Right near the Vort. You could probably summon the same thing.
Yeah.
Is there a summon for Vort? If there was, you could probably summon the same.
I didn't summon for him, but I think there is. Yeah. I don't know. I'll find out. So.
Avianna, you been up to anything else other than Ark?
Yeah, we just finished up a season. I was playing a vampire character.
Oh, is this your same vampire from before?
It is. It's the same vampire from before. This is just her origin story, and I'm gonna post up her the end of this. I had to end my stream early, the night that I ended her story because of just I've had so much crazy stuff going on. But I did film the end, so I do have like an ending for her story, and I'll put it up on YouTube. And now we're doing the Twitch RP 2-year anniversary season, which is like 10 days long, and it's just playing silly characters and being silly characters. And then I've also been playing a little bit of GTA. We have our test server up for the new version of the RP system, the 5M thing. So that's going to start being a thing again. And yeah, so that's what it's kind of, I've been kind of going back and forth between those two games. Yep.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of personal stuff going on. My roommate moved out recently, and so I'm kind of trying to clean up the house and get it all ready for a new roommate. Hopefully, still crossing my fingers that I could find one in time.
The answer is harder with summons. Oh, boo.
Well, all the bosses are harder because it adds like a percentage-based amount of like extra shit, but I think that's mitigated by the fact that you have another person there to like alleviate your
soak damage or whatever.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. We'll see if it really is that much harder because
it'll be a good time.
Everybody was expecting me to.
It's a cool boss fight.
Yeah, everybody was expecting like the same struggle for the Abyss Watchers, and that didn't happen. So I'm kind of expecting this one to suck, but we'll see. I hope it doesn't. I don't want to spend forever on it. Yeah,
fucking lace-covered spider that she does. Oh well, it should be a good time.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've just been playing XCOM War of the Chosen a lot.
How's that?
Yeah, it's like they made the point that they had so much content that they were going to make XCOM 3, but then they just dumped it onto XCOM 2, and they're not wrong. Like, there's just so much in it now. It's like the game on steroids. It's I'm trying to think of a good example, but like, expansions back in the day, like Dragon Age Awakenings, or something that added so much content that it didn't even seem like the original game anymore. It feels like that, so much additional stuff. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to get Trav into it.
Yeah, he needs to. He was playing BattleTech the other day, and I think it gave him the itch for that stuff again.
Somebody mentioned that, didn't she? Didn't they? Yeah. It's like a turn-based mech game or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably check that out at some point. We'll swap. He can have War of the Chosen and I'll have BattleTech. Alright, so is there anything good coming up in terms of horror at the moment? Have we got anything interesting on the cards?
I don't think we posted really anything in our little Discord channel.
I don't feel like there's...
Agony's still being teased like a bitch, but we don't have any details.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's been like a whole bunch of like new stuff coming out. I mean, how new is the Shrouded Isle? Because I keep seeing that come up.
I played that last week before last, so it came out like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's good. It's not even a horror game. It's a cult simulator, and it really, really is.
That's what I figured. Yeah, didn't look like
but it's good.
It looked interesting.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's really cool, especially for that kind of game. And I was all over it. I was really into it, but it's still not. It's not a horror game in any real sense, but it is, a kind of, summoning Chernobog kind of situation. It's fun. Definitely good times.
Yeah.
I wanted to post this out here just because I know it's random and I was gonna post it in the chat, but the Night Trap game is being released.
Oh god,
that's right. Yeah. Everybody keeps bringing that up.
Why haven't you played that yet?
That's right, August 15th. Maybe that'll be one that I bring up in the next week or two. I haven't been looking at new stuff because I have so much shit on my plate already. But I know people
keep play it just because the girl in it's dead, right? I mean,
bringing it up.
Alone.
Yeah.
And she was in Different Strokes and she's dead. That's reason enough to play that terrible, terrible waste of a game.
Well, we've already discussed that one thing that me and Jade like that you don't necessarily like is the cheesy the horror games like that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, true, but this is also bad. I mean, it's not cheesy. It's just like what's that vampire thing that had Night?
Sweet, yeah. This is all up on the
Night something. You really like it, and I think it's terrible. What's it called? Night. I can't remember. They remade it recently. I've got Night Trap stuck in my head now.
Yeah, there's Night Trap, but then there was that you that was
The
remade.
remade one recently was like David Tennant and stuff. But I don't remember the name of it now. It was a shitty vampire
Fright Night.
one. Anyway.
Fright Night.
Fright Night.
Yeah, I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
it was okay. I'm not really
I'll just
like
go
I
ahead
love
and
the
pick
original so much.
Night
I meant the
Trap.
original, yeah. That kind of cheap cheese.
I'm just gonna
Kinda
grab that
laugh.
right now because I kind of didn't even realize it was already out.
Yeah, apparently because Zeke was going to play it like early this week or something.
Night Trap.
Yeah, Night Trap. So it
And
should
then
be out.
I also wanted to put in chat. We've already discussed it a little bit, but that the Darkwood.
Oh yeah, Dog
is
was
finally
out.
going to be completely released, and it has a really really cool live action trailer that they made for it.
It is Flameface. The other reason being Mortal Kombat.
Deadwood. Oh, Darkwood. Yeah, I've heard
Darkwood.
of this.
Darkwood, not Deadwood.
Let me go.
Deadwood's the name of a
Yeah.
Western
cowboy show.
TV show. It's a very good one.
Yeah, this one looks
Deadwood's
really
great show.
good too. This is top. Oh, this is like a Diablo style kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one looks
Cool.
good. Go ahead.
Oh,
pull
and then
the
there's this.
trailer
I
up.
forgot about this one too. This little bit of news, which is fun for our podcast. If you guys know anything about like what we've talked about in the past, but this
Is there a
person,
Buffy game coming
this
out?
wonderful person, I'll post it after the Darkwood trailer.
Oh, you can keep
Um,
talking about. Yeah, this looks pretty. I kept seeing this, and like I think I was when I was like looking for stuff to kind of pick up, like or for early access. I saw this and I was like, this looks cool, but I think I can wait. Like it looks good though.
Yeah, it seems alright.
Yeah.
Looks like it's got some nice atmosphere, some nice style to it.
Yeah.
But I was gonna post that our favorite person is making a history of horror documentary
Oh.
for AMC.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
I linked
it's not
that-
even okay.
I linked that a few weeks ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
in the
still angry about it. How dare he make a history of horror show? It's literally like, who's a good example? Tracy Emin making a how to draw show. It's this bad. How dare Elijah Roth stain horror more than he already by trying to dignify his position?
I mean,
Oh yeah, but he made a good one, Malgrep. We're talking about Elijah Roth here, blattering his
look at
penis
that
over everything.
face. Like, ew.
What you mean, ooh-faced? That guy?
Yeah, like no, you'll see
the
in a
master
second
of horror.
here.
Ooh-faced is.
Oh god!
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh-faced
God.
is him.
It's like he's trying to be sexy, but he just comes off.
Like-
No,
behind a corner.
that is him. Him in Cabin Fever
Yeah,
is the guy who does it.
he's the guy with the dog who's the doctor.
Yeah, the
doctor
ooh
being a
face.
dog. Ooh, faced. Yeah.
cunt.
Which is like the best line because it's so awful.
He could not be more awful,
Yeah.
and now he's making a 6-part series about horror. Jesus, I wonder if he'll even cover any horror, or if he'll just cover his own movies and then cover the remakes of his own movies and then cover.
He will cover
things he's
the
produced.
basics that everybody knows, and then he's just gonna probably bring up his own shit at the end.
He is dreadful.
I would almost guarantee it.
Is there anything Elijah Wood? Is there anything Eli Roth can do now to more damage horror than he already has done? Like, I don't think so. Because at this point, between Cabin Fever and the remake of Cabin Fever, like 12 minutes later, and every other dreadful thing that he's been involved in, Hostel, then I don't think he could hurt the case for horror any more than he already does.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be impossible. Like, he couldn't
this
make
is like one of the few things that all of us kind of agree on.
And
Yeah.
all right-thinking people should agree on it. That's it. Even if there's one person in the chat or any chat who's like, "Oh, I actually really like Eli Roth," well, then you're wrong. It's okay that you like him, but you're wrong, and you shouldn't. What if he can't help looking like a douchebag? I mean, he could wear like a sack on his head. That would take the edge off.
I have updated our subtitles.
When he remakes Diamond Anger. That's more accurate. That's dead on. I can see
That's
that.
good. That's good.
Mm.
I appreciate that.
Anyway, we could sing the Eli Roth a cunt song, but
Yeah.
it's just the, Cartman's Mum is a big fat bitch song.
I think that a lot of us, all three of us, dislike Roth, Phoenix Rising. It's just that Adams tends to, whenever he dislikes something, talk about it in great detail. Because
I like your comment is just ...
Yeah.
Yeah, but Eli Roth is a cunt, though. Seriously.
He is. Yeah. I can't get behind what he does.
Oh yeah, no, this is held back redesignated. It gets worse if I'm let loose.
And I have tried to like I don't think Cabin Fever is the worst, but I agree with everything Adam says about it. Like it's pretty stupid. It's pretty bad. Like,
oh, I don't know. Party Cop. Oh,
yeah, it's just not. The problem I have with Eli Roth is that he thinks he's like the savior of horror, and he's not. So, but yeah.
He's exactly the opposite. He's literally dragging horror down from a relatively forgotten place into a terrible place. The Purge is, slightly his fault as well.
He uses any little bit of money that he can to make it look like he is some kind of king of horror via, trying to make a bar and constantly doing some kind of
there was that shit horror walk as well that the Eli Roth Jeep tour or whatever the fuck it was.
Pays for having haunted houses at these places all the time. And I don't actually think, based off the fact that I know how the whole bar was set up in Vegas, that he actually has that much money. He's just literally scraping the bottle of a barrel to make it look like he has money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I went to that.
Successful.
I went to that haunted house and it was shitty. And yeah.
Well, we didn't even bother. We went to the Universal walk, and it was like, oh, there's an Eli Roth walk. Fuck that. I'd rather literally stand in a queue for 2 hours.
Yeah, he
for The
has
Exorcist.
The thing that bothered me the most was that they have a Walking Dead specific haunted house now at Universal.
It's always there, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like a actual feature that's there all year round. But in the past, that the tram ride was Walking Dead, and so you would go on the tram. They would take you out to the middle of nowhere, and then they'd have you walk back through zombies and stuff. And that was the whole point of it. And I was like, that sounds
pretty
so
cool, actually. Yeah, that sounds pretty badass.
And then the year that they decide that they're going to make an actual haunted house that's going to be at Universal Studios year round is the year that they give the freaking best attraction that they have for the horror thing to fucking Eli Roth. I really hope that they don't give it to him this year and that it's something else.
No, it'll be him. It'll be him. It's always him. He's got his dick so far up everyone.
Considering he's got this top 10 thing going for him, it's a promotional opportunity. So it could very well be,
He'll be there.
The History Channel shit too. He's gonna want to have his name out there as much as possible.
He'll be there like the dreadful, filthy excuse for a human that he is.
What I really think would be cool is if he did
crucified at the front of the Hollywood Horror Walk.
Well, perhaps cool. That. But if they did they're not going to do this, but they're doing another American Horror Story haunted house again this year at Universal Studios Hollywood for their horror nights. And it would be really cool if they would just do, because they just did Roanoke. The last season was the Roanoke thing. If they actually did a Roanoke themed tram ride instead. That'd be better. Fucking awesome. With all the hillbillies and then the ghosts totally and the pigmen and stuff like that. That'd be so great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I'd just take 2 of the Parks members holding Eli Roth while another nuts, and that was the entire night.
Well,
I could just sit there and eat popcorn.
That would just be fun.
Oh, but it would be a lot of fun. More fun than you could have doing anything else.
I want scary.
Okay, how about at the end of it, he gets actually real life murdered?
Well, that's not scary.
That would be quite frightening at the end as a twist.
I guess so.
That's just anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dead. Oh, well, let's go home.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to tell the police? No, we don't care enough. All right, so that's cool. Anything else happening in the world of horror at the moment? I watched iZombie recently. It's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Exactly like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Is it really? I kind of want to watch it.
I would recommend you do watch it because it's so much like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They've even got an antagonist who actually asked James Masters how he did Spike. And when you see said antagonist, you'll see why. Because he's exactly the same. He's that kind of louche.
Yeah.
He's even got the sort of blonde dye. I mean, it's bright blonde because all the zombies are like albino-y, I guess. Is the principle. They haven't got any pigment particularly left in their skin or their hair, which is why he's bright blonde. But he's so much like Spike. iZombie's all right. Yeah, it's not amazing, but it's totally decent, and it's exactly like Buffy, to the letter.
I haven't. There's not been a lot that I've watched. I think I had a bunch. I was going through my Amazon like watch list now because I had bookmarked a bunch of stuff that I was like, gonna watch this.
It's decent.
The Hollow was one. House on Willow Street. I don't know. I had a few like horror movies that I was like ready to start watching, but I haven't.
I haven't had a chance to sit down.
Like Game of Thrones has really been like the only thing, and Spartacus.
I haven't even caught up on that. I'm fucking miles behind on Game of Thrones.
we gotta catch up. I'm
like 6 episodes behind on that show.
We just gotta have
this season has been.
We just gotta have a marathon because.
Well, then I'm really glad that I've missed most of it.
Yeah.
It's been like it's definitely been a season where it's like I can't wait for the next episode every single time.
Yeah, here's what we do. We catch up on Twin Peaks, and to bring ourselves back up from the low point we will be at after that.
Sure.
We watch all of Game of Thrones.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Carry on.
We watch all of Game of Thrones. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But yeah, no, iZombie is totally decent. I was amazed because I thought this is going to be shit. But then I was just like really bored one day and I was like, all right. It's exactly Buffy. It could not be more so. I know it's on the WB or whatever that fucking shit network is. The same one that the CW or whatever it's called. It's the same one that Buffy and Angel were on.
Yeah.
It's
that doesn't make shows bad or anything. It just depends on the writing. I'm
just saying it's the exact same shit. It's like Supernatural or Buffy or anything like that. It's fun. It's not complicated. It's not deep. It's not trying to be anything. It's about a girl who's a zombie. Yeah. Let's not be silly. Who eats brains and gets the visions of people. In fact, it's a lot like, now that I think about it, that shit show that had Elijah Dushku in that never took off.
Oh,
No, not that shit show with Elijah Dushku. Another shit show with Elijah Dushku.
It's called like Dark Angel or something.
Not that one either, but another.
Oh.
I think it was like True Calling or something like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, her name was True. Her name was True, yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of shit shows that she was in that didn't pick up.
Not that one. 10 minutes later, you're still like, no, not that one.
No. The one where she was a mortuary assistant and it's something like she's a detective and solves crimes with psychic visions or some shit.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what happens in iZombie.
I think a general aside for all of this is we absolutely adore her as Faith and think that she's hotter than shit, but we aren't very necessarily fans of her acting career.
I think Dollhouse is really great, and anybody who says it's not is a fucking idiot. Dollhouse was brilliant.
I thought Dollhouse was really, really good.
And was amazing,
people didn't give it the chance that it needed because Joss Whedon needs that slow incline to develop his arcs, and it just wasn't working on Fox at that time period.
Yeah, why don't we just cancel,
they shit can that and
Dollhouse and Firefly and then leave up, 25 more series of some shit.
Yeah, they shit can that Terminator one too at the same time, which was really good.
With, the girl from
Lena
Dollhouse.
Headey was in it, yeah.
Oh, and Lena Headey was in it. Yeah, I was thinking of the
Summer Glau was in it.
And, her. So Dollhouse was bitching, and so was Firefly, and they got cancelled, and that's life. But True Calling was very terrible. Like True Calling was really bad, but iZombie is exactly that.
Yeah.
Like psychic detective solves cases, works in a morgue.
I'll have to check it out.
It's fine. It's easy watching. You can watch a couple of episodes, not care. Dollhouse was just long enough. I think Fox would have ruined it. I mean, I would have liked them to not have to cram the entirety of their story arc into like the 10 episodes of season 2. But maybe a couple more series would have been
Fox
better. But
tends to just to fuck up so many shows. So
season 2 of the truth of Dollhouse is that like after Firefly, the director didn't want to cancel Dollhouse. He didn't want another 6 million emails from fans. Like he got after Firefly, so he just cut the budget to fuckery for the second season and moved it into a dead zone, and it died on its own.
I don't know what you're talking about, Malgrub.
What's that?
I'm curious. He says, what was the spinoff of X-Files that was not Lone Gunman?
Oh, Lance Henriksen. That was, oh God, I remember. I know what you mean. It was Millennium.
Oh.
It's not a spin-off of the X-Files, but it was made by the same guy.
Okay.
Chris Carter made it. It's not in the same world, though.
That makes sense.
But Millennium is the show in question. It was made by Chris Carter and had Lance Henriksen in, but it wasn't actually a spin-off of the X-Files per se. It was pretty good. It was pretty solid, but it was only like two seasons long or something before they burned it as well. Yeah, there were some crossover ones. There was some stuff that floated in and out, but it wasn't really a direct spin-off in the same way that, for example, Frasier was from Cheers.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So they have so much shit on Hulu now that I'm confident it's there somewhere.
Oh yeah, it was actually decent. It's dark as fuck as well, which makes it quite an easy watch. I enjoyed it well enough back in the day when I actually cared enough about Chris Carter to watch things that he makes. So everything up to the 3rd season of the X-Files. It is in the same world, sure, but it doesn't have barely any of the same shit, so it doesn't really matter. But it's in the same world, and it's not a spin-off in the sense that spin-offs usually are.
Spin-offs are usually like a direct, like the Lone Gunmen were all in the show every once in a while, you know. Whereas
yeah.
nobody.
I think there was a
nobody
crossover episode, as Corbel Block continues to want to point out. I think there was a crossover episode.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I don't remember it that well, but yeah, that was it. I obviously have not got the memory for it that Corbel Block has, which is fair enough because it was a long time ago.
Cool. I do remember that guy being in an episode of the X-Files. I just don't. Yeah, there were so many of them.
I don't even remember it.
The further down the rabbit hole of X-Files that you get, the more glazed over your eyes get because it just gets worse and worse. Like
I stopped watching the X-Files around season 3 when I couldn't.
That is exactly where you should stop. Like the movie is all right, and then just don't watch anything after that.
Which movie? Isn't there like 3?
The one that they did between it was like around season 4. That's basically it. But they did do like a couple of movies, not that newer one. That newer one wasn't very good.
Okay, so what else is going on in the wonderful world of horror? Not much happening otherwise, is there?
I'm kind of skimming through our little chat that we have for just talking about that kind of stuff.
I've kind of pasted stuff, but there hasn't really been much.
Nah, there's not. I mean, we've got Agony, we've got Scorn, but these are all round the corner at some point. We don't know when.
When's the Call of Cthulhu game coming out? Have they said?
That's like late. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be like late September, early October.
And then what about Vampire?
No idea about that one.
Because I've been seeing that one's art posted on my Twitter feed, so I'm wondering if it's coming out soon too.
I don't think Vampire's coming out super soon, but I don't know enough about that one. It didn't seem like it was particularly finished state at the time when I saw it.
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like they've turned their focus to some other things, and I mean, it's not that they're not doing it. It's just it seems like.
Plus, they're doing Legendary Edition of Blood Bowl. Not to say that that's better. I'm just saying that that's coming first.
It seems like I haven't heard anything about the We're talking about Vampire.
It says available.
We're talking about...
It says Vampire. Yeah. It says available November 2017 on here.
Well, we'll see if it comes out then. Let's hope so.
Yeah. I remember seeing a whole bunch of some of the I guess what happened is some of the people that did some of the like concept art and stuff for it were allowed to post on Twitter recently, so I've actually found a few different copies of
This is exactly the presentation I watched at E3.
Yeah, I think this is what they've got, the Call of Cthulhu game.
Yep.
That one looked pretty good.
Which looks pretty cool.
Yeah. It seems like they're leaning so heavily away from combat that it might be all great.
Oh, this might be a really good time to talk about what we're doing on Sundays.
What the fuck are we doing on Sundays?
Well, normally this Sunday we're not doing it, but it'll be the next.
Oh, the role play.
Yeah. What the fuck are we doing on Sunday?
Oh God, have I forgotten something else that was supposed to be done?
Well, this week it's we're taking a break because our GM had a business trip to go to for work. But
thanks, Iron Pickle. I worked hard at it. Oh yeah, we're doing the Call of Cthulhu role play. That's a lot of fun. We're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going on, Mortis.
Horror stuff.
I know stuff and things. Yeah, it's my official game adaptation. I worked hard and long on this.
Clip of their role play here.
Oh, we have a clip of the roleplay.
A little bit. I
You
don't
get
have
to see
sound on it, but
you get to
just
see our
That's fine.
sick
you guys
fucking
doing
costumes.
roleplay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say costume, but it's literally just my clothes.
Yeah. Adam and I were in a game with Metamancer is our GM. We were in a 1 hour Call of Cthulhu game, or 1 hour one shot Call of Cthulhu game with her a few like a year ago, I think, like maybe a little
Yeah,
year
around
ago.
that time, maybe.
Yeah,
a bit longer.
I remember you guys were doing that.
And she asked us to come back, and it's like a multi-episode one this time, and it's because we do a lot of character development stuff. It's not because we literally like every single week beat a Call of Cthulhu monster, because that's ridiculous. But yeah, it's got a lot of intrigue right now. We've got like dead bodies. We're kind of doing like a murder mystery thing with like slight horror elements to it, but nothing.
Well, you
nothing
can't
too over the
do
top
with
yet.
Call of Cthulhu. You have to leave it until like way late before you meet anything, because everything kills you instantly.
Yeah, and I started off playing D&D games before I played video games, so I'm like in my element, having fun.
Jade,
Yeah.
Flameface asks if I've played Cthulhu Saves the World. He didn't ask me, so I'm assuming he's aiming at you.
Have you played Cthulhu Saves the World, Adam?
It's interesting that you asked me that question. Yes, I have.
I assumed that maybe you did.
Yeah, I've played that game. It's pretty funny, actually. It's well worth a look. It's a laugh.
I feel like asking you if you've played a Cthulhu game is like asking Flameface if he is in fact
played
currently wearing a button-up shirt that has flames on it.
Is he actually always wearing that?
I don't know. I just assume that's like in my mind, in my picture of Flameface. That's what I figure he's wearing. Like he's like a skinny Guy Fieri or something. And he's got like cargo shorts
that's just
on and a
mean.
button.
That's like, I don't know if there's a blow low enough for that one to be below it.
No, too much information. See,
He's wearing nothing. Sweet fucking Jesus.
Let's change the subject now. Alrighty.
Let's imagine that he's like this Adonis-like figure then, because I don't want to imagine a skinny Guy Fieri wearing nothing. Yeah. Anyway, I've played Cthulhu Saves the World. It's actually really funny. It's not horror. It's
pretty
constantly parodying the
Yeah,
Cthulhu.
I've played that.
safe-
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
I think it's safe to assume, guys, that unless it's been made within the last 2 or 3 months,
Hours.
Adam has seen the Cthulhu version of it.
Hours. Yeah.
Yeah, hours.
I get that quite frequently, and yeah, it's good, and you should all play it actually, because it's usually like $1 or something. So
Yeah.
if you hate it, you're only wasting $1. It plays like a Breath of Fire game, which is not really surprising, as it's made by the same people who made Breath of Fire. But it's a right laugh. If you're into your Cthulhu mythos, it's a very pleasant dive. It's actually probably the best Cthulhu-based game that exists, unfortunately.
And that's because it's picking on itself, right?
If you like that kind of game, it's a good version of them. It's a top-down, mannery, turn-based Final Fantasy wander around roleplay job.
It does.
But
It
with
doesn't do a
constant-
whole lot for like immersing yourself in, but it is fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very, very fourth wall breaky. Like
Yeah.
every 5 seconds is a fourth wall joke. But it's well worth a look, well worth a laugh. Okay, so
Yeah.
not a lot's happening otherwise in horror though.
No, I don't.
We've got a few things around the corner. Evil Within 2's coming, so that's going to suck.
Yeah, I keep getting asked about that one.
That's going to be really, really garbage. There's some mods for things like Fallout and Skyrim and stuff that are horror based that are having a
Yeah.
I kind of think we should all get Evil Within, and we should all play it, and then we should make clips from it, and then we should show them on a show.
Yeah, I
But that
think
would just-
that's
I mean,
probably
but
going to happen. It's
The funny thing about that is if that actually happens, we should show them non-sequentially and then in tripartite. So basically, it'll be me screaming in rage or something, Jade just sounding bored and upset and pissed off, and Avianna not pretending, putting a
Confused.
brave face,
Literally,
putting a brave
you're-
face on the whole thing,
Yeah, you're confused.
while secretly seething.
I feel I can picture one of her just with this confused look, going, "What?" And what I want to do is I want to take all these clips and put it on the Hellmouth YouTube just to This is us
It's going to be
playing.
stinking garbage
Yeah.
fire shit. I'm so I know I'm going to play it, and I'm going to play it and bitch the entire way through.
Yep.
But it's a kind of game that I know I'm going to play, and it's very rare to have a game you know you're going to play and hate. Like, usually games I know I'm going to play are games that I like the idea of.
Yeah.
But in this case, I know I'm going to play it, and I'm going to hate it. It's going to suck really badly.
Wouldn't it be some shit if we actually all liked it?
Wow, that would be amazing.
I know.
Though, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be? Oh, it won't though.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, it'll be actually like creditable as a game. Maybe. Probably going to be shit though.
Yeah.
All right.
The trailer did exactly what I think will happen to me when I play that game, which is like, ooh.
Oh.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it goes downhill.
Honestly, the trailer for
now
me
I'm
was
playing
all I
Left 4
needed
Dead
to
2.
see. The trailer with the fake jump scare is going to kill me. The one thing I disagree with Adam on, what's that, Draconis?
I think Draconis liked The Evil Within.
Oh, you like the first Evil Within? Oh, fair enough. If only it had been like mechanically decent or
Yeah, I don't like.
confused in terms of its horror.
I know there
Would've
were
been a
people
better
who
game.
liked it, and I don't really hold anything against them, but I'm also just like,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
I can't get into it. I had a hard time.
Just like there's people
I've
that
considered trying again, but I don't think I can do it. You know.
I mean,
just
there
like
are
there's
people
people
who
that like Hostel and stuff
So-
like that.
Mhm.
Like I don't get it. I'm glad you enjoy it, but I hate it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just did so little in the world of horror, I suppose, is my issue. And it felt like it should have done so much. But
it's just so sad
it just
too
had so
because it's a
little
Bethesda
impact.
thing, and you just want Bethesda to have a cool thing.
Oh, and
Yep.
it was pretty as well. And it was, and it
So
was
pretty.
It was a very good
aesthetically
looking game.
very
Yeah.
attractive. Oh,
And,
no, our
like,
feelings
some
for
of the
saying, oh,
monsters
absolutely,
in it
man.
were cool looking. Like, I'm not talking about the safe head
Nah.
guy, but like the Lisa creepy
There
like
was some
spider girl was cool
Yep.
looking. The guy in the hoodie
Evil
had a
Dead.
cool makeup job thing going on for him.
Sometimes I
Walking
gotta
through the
preface
house was
it because
pretty.
Adam's gonna tear into some shit that he doesn't like, and he's if you don't know that he really doesn't have any hard feelings against you, you're gonna think he fucking
Draconis,
hates
you're
you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Sorry, you're absolutely fine. This
Yeah.
is not this is not, I'm not having a crack at you, mate. You're absolutely
Yeah.
okay. My issue with Evil Within was simply that every section of it was actually quite well done, but clustered together, they made this diffusive mess of a thing. But no, this is not you.
Yeah.
You can like the Evil Within, and you should like
Yeah.
the Evil Within.
I think it's
You
important
should
to-
absolutely enjoy
That
what you
game needs
enjoy.
a fan somewhere.
It's important
Yeah,
to preface
someone's
that,
gotta like
like,
that
in
shit.
general, like, we have very strong opinions about horror stuff because we're all really into horror, but doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to look down on somebody else for not agreeing
no.
with us on certain things.
Enjoy what you enjoy, and quite clearly, you're not alone because they're making a second one, which means they sold a lot of the first copy.
Hmm I have some cosplay friends that are obsessed with Evil Within.
I own the Evil Within. You own the. We all own shite though it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible, but we all own it. And this is not. This is the thing is that I think that's part of the issue with it is because because it was Resident Evil's creator, we just wanted it to be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it felt like we were being betrayed by the game because it should have been so much better. And all the stuff is there to be a good horror game, but it's all plastic. It's like somebody got a paintball of horror and splattered the wall with it and hoped something stuck. Because it's zombies, and then it's metaphysical horror, and then it's body shock, and then it's the reprehensible, unforgivable rip-off of Pyramid Head. And you're just like, oh, wow. Did you just not care about like having some sort of cohesive thing for this? Or are you really relying on your loose, lazy storytelling mechanic to tie this shit together?
I think streaming it was difficult too, just because that base reaction of not understanding it was just magnified by the fact that you're not understanding it in front of a bunch of people, and then it's
I
just like,
understood it. I just hated it.
yeah, and I just for me, I was just like, I have no idea what's happening. I don't get this. I'm
so all over the place.
irritated by it. Yeah.
Perception's a good game, Flameface. Perception's well worth to pick up if that's the one you're referring to. I'm sure you are.
in a nutshell, what we've discussed about Evil Within, which we don't, all three of us kind of weren't a fan of, was that it took like a whole bunch of like different tropes of horror, and rather than like coming up with some cohesive story with them, it just kind of throws them in your face so that you feel like you're playing Resident Evil and Left 4 Dead, and you're just playing all these different things in one game, and it doesn't really mesh together well. I think that's kind of what we all came up to as like our opinion on Evil Within.
Oh, and this is the issue, because the stuff with the hood guy, the metaphysical ring-like horror, is well done. And the zombie stuff is well done. And even the shitty pyramid head part is well done. But every new level is like, why am I here now? Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. Where's my laser crossbow of thunder? I'll just shoot everything with that and it'll all die.
Dodecahedron head.
An original horror villain, yeah.
It's funny because dodecahedron head is a thing, and I'll look it up right now.
It actually exists, yeah. It's a meme.
A friend, it's a Silent Hill meme.
Silent Hill meme.
Let me see if I can't find it. Yeah,
you should be able to find it pretty easy, yeah. That was a big meme for a while. Because people
I have a cosplay friend who made it. I don't have a picture of the costume, but he made it.
As far as meshing different horror games together, and Dawn did way better than Evil Within.
Pull this up.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all I am is a fountain of useless information about Silent Hill games. So
Until Dawn didn't do a better job of meshing it together than Evil Within. Two separate elements of Until Dawn clang really badly against each other. Like, Until Dawn is a really good slasher film kind of game for the first 2/3, and then it becomes Wendigos for some reason. And it's like, they're Wendigos. Oh. But is the slasher thing still going on? No, not at all. No, that's not existing anymore. The guy from iRobot, he's just given up. Oh, so just Wendigos now. Yeah, just Wendigos. All right.
Well, since we're slowly transitioning into Silent Hill, we should probably, it's been like over an hour. We've been avoiding the topic of Silent Hill. So
let's lose all our friends.
And
let's lose all our friends.
All right.
Go.
So let's preface the Silent Hill thing by saying, before we get into it, that there is no horror genre in gaming without Silent Hill, really.
Yeah.
Every horror game that comes later took from Silent Hill, because Silent Hill is Mr. Robot. Sorry, Cobbleborp, Mr. Robot. Every horror game took from Silent Hill, and they should, because Silent Hill is the most phenomenal series that's ever been in horror. So we're not here really to argue about whether Silent Hill is good or impactful or resonating, because it definitely is in all three of those cases. And this is including the later ones, which we're about to fight about. They have significant impact and dramatic reach.
It influenced a lot of everything.
Without question.
I was actually going to suggest... Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but go ahead. You should go, because I was going to transition to the next thing that we talk about. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Yeah, all right.
I was going to say, I was thinking that we could start off by having Jade talk about like her experience with the games, because she hasn't played all of them.
I'm really new to Silent Hill.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. I'm very new to it because I just never had access.
You played 1 and 2, right?
I've played 1 and 2. Yeah.
You've played 2/3 of the good one.
Yes, I played 1 and 2. I plan on playing 3 and any others that you guys would recommend. And then, of course, I played the one that has nothing to do with it, the demo, the PT thing. And I mean,
Resident Evil started the genre. Silent Hill made it better.
The thing that I like the most about them is and why I probably like them a little more than Resident Evil is just because they have that brand of horror that I like, that ethereal ghost, what is happening, kind of thing, versus mutants and monsters, which is great. And the thing that I like about Resident Evil is the creepy mansion and that
Resident
whole
Evil
thing.
Is the fucking Citizen Kane of horror.
Yeah,
they're really
great.
Talk about horror without talking about Resident Evil,
but Silent Hill has that kind of up in the air. What does this mean? Kind of thing to it, like the puzzles in the game. I find great. the atmosphere, the fogginess, you know, all of that stuff is probably, and Silent Hill 2, even though I had issues streaming it, was still, I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to play the next one.
Oh, Silent Hill 2 is it's not, you know, without any fear of contradiction, Silent Hill 2 is the best horror game ever made.
Yep.
It's without question. Everything stems from it, because as Bacon Praline happily points out, Alone in the Dark came beforehand and wasn't very good. And Resident Evil came out and was great, but didn't go far enough.
Yeah.
And then Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2 had the atmosphere, the puzzles, and then just for Pyramid Head, from what I understand, to not be at like he's not like in all the games. It's really only a couple of them, right?
Well, he turns up far more frequently.
We can discuss him. We can discuss him.
Yeah, you can discuss him later on, but it seems like he's not. It's not supposed to be.
He's not meant to be in any game but 2.
About him, but it, like for him to be such a harrowing kind of figure to have that influence, you know, and you just look at him and you're like, what the fuck is that? You know that.
And Pyramid Head has resonated on his own so dramatically through horror. I mean, we just talked about it with Evil Within, but the Butcher, any indestructible bastard in horror is playing off him. Chris in just
strong
Outlast.
With like you don't know what he looks like. It
you
just plays.
Know what he is.
It plays to so many different types of horror, I guess, things that you're afraid of. So I think it's brilliant.
Oh, well, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And
that's
another. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. What have you done?
I was gonna say we're trying to be really polite to each other now.
Yeah, because it's gonna get bad.
One of the best things about Team Silent, Team Silent is the name of the team, the Japanese team. That's kind of the name that they gave themselves. One of the major things about Team Silent that they really wanted to come across was making these creatures that you don't exactly know what they are. If you would never actually see them, and because you've never actually see them and you don't know exactly what they are and what they're supposed to represent, the way that they move, the way that they look, the Pyramid Head having this like the butcher like body, but then like these sharp like edges and stuff like that is supposed to be representational of things that scare you on a very like very specific level. Yeah. Like as opposed to being like, oh, I'm afraid of blood. It's like, why are you afraid of blood? We make sure to put this into this monster. Yeah. So like I feel like that is why specifically Pyramid Head like reaches such a huge audience of people, and why people copy off of it so much is because of the fact that they realize that is really just an origin of fear itself. Yeah. Like what makes people afraid. I would anything agree. Else that branches off from that is because of that. They understand that mechanic of that character.
To me, he's very much in the video game universe. Is it like Checkers is saying, the Uncanny Valley, but like Clive Barker, Hellraiser type.
Barker would probably be the closest.
Yes, because I did see Hellraiser when I wasn't playing Silent Hill, but I saw Hellraiser when I was very young, and it instilled that same type of anxiety and fear in me a little bit. Just the mere presence of Pyramid Head, you know.
Oh, without question.
Which is I'm going to jump ahead here, and I don't really want to go off on a tangent about the movie, but which is one of the reasons that I feel like when you watch the second Silent Hill movie and you're all like, oh, wow, this is so Hellraiser, it's ridiculous, it's stupid. I think it's because the person who made the second, the director that made the second Silent Hill movie realized how ingrained that whole idea is with Silent Hill and with Hellraiser, and so he tried to like mix the two, and he just didn't do it well enough. But I think that's one of the reasons that they do that there's a similar look, if you know what I'm saying, with the monsters in the movie when they're trying to represent the monsters from Silent Hill. But yeah, it's a little offshoot jump.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and this is the thing, without going, into hyperbole about it, Resident Evil opened the door in terms of survival horror.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Silent Hill caused the door to explode off its hinges.
Yeah.
And Checkers is absolutely right. It is a similar effect. It's not the uncanny valley exactly in terms of what it actually is the nightmare that children have, that their parents are not their parents, but they look the same. And that level of discomfort is the actual psychological attack that's being done. And it's the same psychological attack that's done in the uncanny valley, but that isn't what's being used. You are right, Corbleborp, and wrong. Because Checkers is correct that it is the same psychological avenue at work, but it is not specifically the uncanny valley, though it is exactly the same fear that is in the uncanny. Checkers is quite right. You like the first Silent Hill movie? Well, that just makes you a shit person.
Oh, shut up. Anyway,
they're gonna get to that too.
We'll get to the movies. I think that
that's generally how I feel about the series, and like I said, I'm still getting into it, but it is kind of my favorite because I still think Fatal Frame held up way better in terms of actually being just straight up horrifying for me. But you're gonna love Fatal Frame 2. Then.
Yeah, Fatal Frame is.
Fatal Frame 2 is so good.
There probably wouldn't be a Fatal Frame without a Silent Hill. So
quite true.
Exactly.
That
absolutely
that
true.
Goes back to that kind of goes back to the influence that it has, and going back and playing those years later, it still holds up. Silent Hill still holds up. So yeah, I loved it.
Silent Hill 2, still plays really well. It doesn't play badly.
I think that when it comes to the whole Resident Evil, I think we were discussing earlier, it was Resident Evil started off the whole genre of the horror games thing, but then Silent Hill is the one that said, hey, it doesn't have to be about seeing the monster and fighting the monster with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about what makes that monster and what makes that monster scary to you. And I think that's where the Silent Hill is the one that branched off into having the Fatal Frames and the games of that nature that makes it so appealing to me.
It makes you uncomfortable, and you have to struggle more to get away from it than you do to fight and defeat it,
It's obviously the zombie is going to make me uncomfortable, but then there's this thing over here that out of context is weird looking and kind of strange, but in the thing of the game, in the moment of the game, it's like I don't get it, and it makes me uncomfortable in a very not fun way.
Yeah.
I mean, the explorative aspect was always in survival horror from the beginning, but the important difference that you're definitely articulating here is the difference between psychological and survival horror.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I think that I like more about it.
Tricks they did to cover up the limitations of the system became that stalwarts of the season. Things like the fog that we all know about was used to cover up the draw distance, but is now a staple used to make you isolated and afraid. You'll find yourself dumped in the fog and you can't see dick all. They actually use it in Dark Souls to annoying effect in the
shaded wood.
And with the in Dark Souls 3 or 2 or whichever one it is, as those shitty ice cat things.
That's 2. But they've got an area in 3 that's
fog and shit you up.
The Dariel or whatever, that painted world kind of has a bit of that too, but it's definitely 2 that you're thinking of, that shitty ice area.
Every time when they block off your vision,
frozen Ilium Lois.
It's coming from Silent Hill 2. It's all Silent Hill. You can't really talk about horror without talking about Silent Hill and its influence, because it's so important and so wide-reaching. Having a 3-dimensional protagonist, Jill and Chris are not 3-dimensional in Resident Evil. They're great, but they're heroes. They're just straight up heroes. They haven't got much depth to their character. James is incredibly complicated.
See, I would even argue that even though Silent Hill 1 isn't necessarily as well, it didn't really influence people as much as Silent Hill 2 did, that I feel like all the Silent Hill games in general have characters that they specifically create so that you can somehow find a part of yourself in that character.
All 3 of the Silent Hills,
your Jills and your Chris's and your Leons and your Claires, it's this hero fantasy that you're putting yourself into those characters. But in all the other characters, you're Harry, you're going after your daughter.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way,
James,
the only really noble quest in the Silent Hills is Harry's one.
Technically, Silent Hill 3 is also noble. But
that's vengeance.
Well,
She's
yeah, I
after
guess.
vengeance.
Yeah,
that's
true.
100% vengeance. That is. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Silent Hill 3 is amazing, but she wants vengeance on cuntbag McGee.
I think the only one that has a character that I can think of where we don't really get as much of his backstory as he's connected to another character that you're supposed to like more is Silent Hill 4. Because that one is based off the idea that you are this person who's living through another person's eyes.
Well, you're not even really, I mean, in Silent Hill 4, you're trying to get out of this damn room the whole time.
Yeah, we'll get to that one though.
Yeah, we'll get to that shite fest later.
But I'm thinking of all the other ones, like Homecoming. You're on a quest to like figure out stuff about your character. Origins, you're on a quest to figure out more about your past as your character, and you find out more. You connect more with the character. The same like Silent Hill Shattered Memories is completely about connecting to.
Well, it's mechanically about
the character.
That as well.
That's what it's about. Downpour is the exact same thing, and you can even argue that the offshoot one, Book of Memories, is all about like you making decisions that affect your life without realizing that you're affecting your life, and you kind of go through the story of that as well. So like it's all about character development in Silent Hill as opposed to in Resident Evil's where it's more about like just saving the day.
There's absolutely no power fantasy in Silent Hill 2. Succeeding in Silent Hill 2 is just about not dying. And
is it really succeeding? Like none of the endings are really that great.
The best ending in the whole of Silent Hill 2 is kind of like the one where he kills himself.
What about that? What about that dog one?
Well, there's the one with the aliens.
That's always like the joke endings of Silent Hill are always the best because they're so incredibly like.
Well, they're just so silly as well.
Yeah, it's great.
But no, like the best ending of the canonical endings in Silent Hill is really arguably, at least then the cycle won't perpetuate, which is exactly what's going to happen.
Cut out for me. What did you say?
Is it because the cycle won't perpetuate if he at least dies, rather than like leaving with Maria, which is arguably the worst ending, because that just means that it's all going to happen again because she's already starting to get sick at the end. Because he hasn't actually come to terms with the problem.
Yes.
Oh, dog ending. It's the dog ending. The classic dog ending.
I've wanted for like people do cosplays of like animals and stuff where they just kind of put on the ears and you might have a tail and all that kind of stuff. And I've forever wanted to do a Mira. The name of this dog is Mira.
I like the silhouette with the fucking credits.
Mira. The only reason we know the dog's name is because in the soundtrack for Silent Hill 2 at the very end it names
I can't deal with
different people.
I can't deal with the dog ending, man. It's so fucking good.
The dog song.
Oh yeah, man. I can hear it right now.
Like literally, I don't have the podcast on in the background for me. I think for probably about 2 weeks of my streaming career, the dog song was my donation song. It would just play all the way through. So if you donated like $10, you get to hear the dog song.
So fucking funny, man. But yeah, no. There is no up for Silent Hill endings, and that was a big change as well, right? Because like Resident Evil or things that came before it, there was a definitive win condition. Like in Resident Evil, you can save Chris and kill. You can't really kill Wesker, but you can defeat Wesker and you can kill the tyrant and you can get the fuck away and everything's fine.
Yeah,
ish until 2, right? But it's a definitive win condition, whereas the win condition in Silent Hill is something like realizing the pain you're in and ending it. And that was such a different kind of game. That was something that we'd never really seen, certainly not in horror, it's not in anything. That kind of personal journey in a game that was hidden amidst a horror game concept.
This is one of the reasons that Silent Hill 2 gets brought up as being such an important game in general, not even in horror.
Oh, Silent Hill 2 turns up in top 20 lists all the fucking time.
Yeah,
it's not even like horror lists. It's just it turns up on the same list that Ocarina of Time turns up on. It's that good. Resident Evil endings are action hero centric, but they're supposed to be. designed that way. Gil is supposed to be an action hero. Chris is supposed to be. They tried to make it a bit less so
sometimes I enjoy playing the horror game where I'm just the hero and I shoot things and I save the day. So that's one of the reasons that I love the Resident Evil games.
In 2, they tried to make. I mean, Leon's a bit, and later he became like action hero.
Yeah.
But in 2, Leon and Claire are supposed to be bystanders just trying to survive, and that's pretty, clearly done. But it's not till like 4 that Leon becomes a super ninja and Claire develops laser eyes and wings and becomes the Metatron. That didn't happen yet. It will though.
Well, that's because Capcom took Resident Evil and wanted to create they wanted to make the characters that everybody wants to continuously play over and over again. But the original Silent Hill games, they really wanted to tell like a story. So they they reused Harry in Silent Hill 3, but he's only in it for just a little bit.
Barely,
the whole concept of him being in it is only just to create more story. Like there's hints of throughout all the Silent Hills, there's hints of the Team Silent stuff, but like Team Silent in themselves wanted to, hint at all the older games. When you play Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, when you play Silent Hill 4, The Room, there's characters in it that are connected to James. There's characters in it that are connected to James's story, so you can find out a little bit more about James's story. However, James isn't in it. They didn't want to continuously bring back the same characters because once that character's story is done, it's done. And I appreciate that about the Silent Hill.
That was much. It was much better that, and also it allowed you to, because if you get to the end of Silent Hill 2, if you get to the end of Silent Hill 2 and don't vaguely dislike James, I don't think you've paid enough attention.
Yeah.
In the game, because he's not a very good person.
Yeah.
He's kind of a cunt.
Yeah.
And you should kind of get to the end of it and be like, I'm faintly repelled by playing this guy.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing achievement, to be repelled from playing the main character in any game, because every game leans you in the direction of liking your main character, right? Like Shepard, even if you're being a cunt with Shepard in Mass Effect, you're doing it in such a bombastic, bravado-esque way that he's still like fun, even though you're killing people all the time or whatever.
Silent Hill 2 does this thing though, like what I was saying before, is it puts you in the character and then it makes you realize that you dislike the character, which is another reason that game is so incredibly, interesting conceptually.
Oh, absolutely. And Heather Mason, who we've just got on the stream right now, is one of my favorite all-time heroines in a game. I think she's amazing. I think, she's so three-dimensional. She's so well-defined. And also, they mock themselves in Silent Hill 3. Like, she won't put her hand down the toilet, which is just...
Yeah.
What kind of person would do that? Indicating her own father, technically.
No, Harry does? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does in the first one, yeah.
They do it in the first or the second one.
Do they do it in the first one? They definitely do it in the second one. Do they do it in the first?
I think that they
I can't remember.
Yeah.
He's definitely putting his hands into bad shit.
Yeah, I know he does in the second,
whether it's the toilet, it's definitely some unpleasant crap going on there. But 1, 2, 3, I mean, 3 is arguably the one that's aged the best, not least of which because it's the least old out of the 3. But it still looks great. I mean, I'm looking at this on screen, I'm like, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I do want to preference, though, if people are going to want to go back and play these games, if you go and you buy the remake versions, remake versions of these games, I'm just going to put this out there. We don't have to talk about it too much. But when the Western team at Konami was given the old files for these games, and they were supposed to be the original files for the games, they were not the original files for the games. They sent them off to the new developers to finish off remastering them or whatever, and then the new developers were like, well, we don't have all of it, and they didn't tell them in time. So like, if you go back to play these games, I would actually recommend going back and trying to play them in their original format if you can.
Well, I would never recommend anybody uses an emulator, but you might want to go back and use get like emulated.
Because specifically. 2, like when they remastered 2, there's certain things about it that are messed up. The fog is messed up. There's textures that are messed up, whatever. But you can actually play that game, and it's fine. The one that I had the biggest issues with in the remastered version was 3, because when they remastered that one, there's specifically parts before you even get to Silent Hill where you're in the tunnels and stuff between her house and the whatever. that are almost impossible to play just because they're laggy. The monsters are horribly like positioned. It's not the original game, and it's very frustrating.
Let me just put this out there. I wouldn't say at all that what you should do is buy a copy of Silent Hill 3 online and then use an emulator and play the original version. You certainly shouldn't do that, and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. Don't use emulators.
I think that Silent Hill 3 is there. I think that there's a computer version of Silent Hill 3 that's fine. It's just you'd have to find where that's at.
Honestly, if you've bought the game already, I don't see any problem using an emulator. So you should absolutely.
I have 3 different versions of Silent Hill 3. So
you should absolutely get the original if you can, and you can very easy to grab online.
I think I might have picked it up because I was anticipating that I was going to play it.
Play that. If you've bought a game already, just emulate because it's a better game. If it's not the remastered version. But yeah, Silent Hill 1, groundbreaking. Silent Hill 2, masterwork. Silent Hill 3 is still an amazing game. It's not as good as 2, but it's arguably a little bit better polished than 2.
Gameplay wise, easier to play than 2.
Yeah, it definitely easier to play.
Storyline wise, it's based off the original story, which isn't necessarily its own one shot kind of thing like Silent Hill 2 is, which kind of it lends itself more to a series than an actual one-off story, which is what makes Silent Hill 2 so great, is that it's a one-off story and it goes across everything and then bam, it's done.
Absolutely. But we all. I mean, Jade's only played the first 2, but she's already into it, and hopefully, and I'm really happy that you haven't played 3 because I can't wait to watch you play it. That's going to be amazing. And 3 isn't like janky like Resident Evil 2, for example. 3 is better, much better.
I think that another thing to point out is that Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3 are much more about a mythical lore. Sure. Of the world of what makes Silent Hill, because I'm not going to ruin it, but there's it connects it more back to the idea of what they were saying in the first one about the rebirth of gods and stuff like that.
Yeah,
well, the cult stuff returns. Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 is just, this is what resonates. This is what happens when all that other crazy magical lore stuff happens. This is what happens to everybody else that's involved in it in some way.
This is the broken souls who fall apart in here.
Yeah, this is the maelstrom that what the maelstrom causes the people around it. So I think I personally that's one of the reasons that I wanted them to make more Silent Hill games, is because I find that concept interesting, that there's this main storyline with these people that are have connected to gods and cults and what they do, but what they do fucks up the world around them, so that people who walk by catch wind of it and they have to deal with it.
Get dragged into the storm of horror.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted them to make more games like Silent Hill 2, even if it wasn't necessarily going to be the exact same in-depth story of Silent Hill 2.
Well, I really like the break as well between 1 and 3, as you say. I mean, not to spoil it for anybody, but if you've not played them, by now suck. There is, as you say, a really definite mythological imperative in 1 and 3, and having that nice break in 2 gives you a bit of time off from dealing with the hell gods and business.
Yeah.
That you got going on in 1 and 3, which is why Silent Hill 2 is such a horrible movie, because it ruins everything that Silent Hill 3 and 1 try to set in a dreadful mash of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they make Pyramid Head a good guy. And they make Pyramid Head a good guy.
Well,
and Dahlia Gillespie a sympathetic character. Okay, if you don't know the films or the games,
are we going to talk about the films now because they're connected to the games we're talking about?
I'm gonna hammer into the films for a couple of seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to go into it at any great extent, but basically, if Shepard was actually an evil character, is the shift they've made with Dahlia Gillespie. It's so dramatic and disgusting. And Pyramid Head being made into a protective spirit doesn't make sense in any form of the law.
Okay,
It doesn't
so you're
make
talking.
sense.
Wait. You're talking about both of the movies now. You were talking about the first movie and the second movie. You're
The
talking
first
about
movie
there's
and the
one
second movie, yeah.
connection.
Well, they're supposed to be connected in
They're
terms of
supposed to be connected, but they
movies.
don't have the same writers. They don't have the same directors. They don't have.
They do have the same director and the same actor.
No, they don't.
They
don't have the same director. No, they don't.
What's his
Silent
name?
Hill movie. Hold on.
Christoph Gans or whatever, isn't it?
Christoph Gans is the director for the first film.
Isn't he also the director for the second film?
No.
Not that matters because it isn't acceptable.
Michael J. Bassett was the director.
Oh yeah, Michael J. Yeah. Not that matters intensely because it's still not acceptable to rape the canon to the extent that they did in Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill 1 is still very terrible. Like, making Dahlia Gillespie a sympathetic character is super offensive. Also, why change her name? Seriously, why change her name? Is that just
the second movie? The second movie was directed and written by Michael J. Bassett.
J. What's his fuck?
The first movie was
Christoph Gans was the first one.
Was Christoph Gans, but I believe it had a different.
Roger Avery wrote it, and Gans and somebody else.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I feel like the first one is way better connected to the.
It's a better movie. I mean, it's still very bad in the sense that, like, why change the gender of the character and then still keep Sean Bean in the whole way through? Like, if you wanted to change the gender, that's fine.
I think originally what they wanted to do was they wanted to make Silent Hill the first movie and Silent Hill the second movie, so they changed the male character to not being the protagonist of the first movie because they were going to turn him into James for the second movie. I think that was probably what they were going to go with because they wanted the idea of a female lead in the first movie and also a male
Jon
lead
Snow's
in the second movie.
Carry on. Yeah, I mean, also Jon Snow's in it. And him and
very young Jon Snow, yeah.
and also, not to go on about it, but Jon Snow, or it's not his real name in the movie, but the character who played that guy, there he is. Yeah. And Heather being in a relationship in any way makes me sad and angry all at once. Like, he could not have had more contempt for him in the game.
It's creepy. It's
you've
creepy,
actually literally
you don't even know. You don't even know the Silent Hill fandom.
It's so bad.
Was freaking out because there's lots of people that ship weird characters in the Silent Hill fandom.
By the way, literally that moment there where Pyramid Head blocked her sword blow, I have seen my favorite meme has got to be the "I will be your hero" meme. That I will be your hero, baby. Yeah. I will chase away your fears. Meanwhile, Claudia Wolf has become whatever the fuck this is. And Sean Bean's still alive. And in about 5 seconds flat, he's going to say, "Hey, Jon Snow, who I've never met before, please look after my daughter while I go and do Silent Hill 2, which will never be made." It's so bad. It's literally like being like punched over and over again if you're a fan of the game. And what's worse, the Pyramid Head as protector is worse than Nemesis with feelings.
Okay. So I'm gonna break this down a little bit. The first movie breaks off and branches off a few things that obviously Adam has said that he didn't really like about them. They, for a production level of what I think they were trying to perhaps do, they changed the main protagonist into a female rather than a male, like in the first Silent Hill.
They did that.
That's one thing that Adam doesn't like.
No, but the reason that they did that was because they didn't think a man could deliver the father-daughter relationship. They wanted a mother-daughter relationship in the movie, which is a super fucking sucky reason.
Yeah, I agree.
The gender. And then they still included Sean Bean because this isn't actually the fault of Christoph Gans. This is the fault of the studio. Because they insisted on a female character because they couldn't get the male. They didn't think the father-daughter relationship was strong enough, right? Uh-huh. And then insisted on a male lead as well. And you're just like, dude, you could have had a male lead. I think Silent Hill 1 had a male lead. You could have used that and done none of this shit and not ruined a significant point of the game, which is that Sybil can no longer connect properly with the mother in the same way that she connected with Harry, right? You cut that off immediately the second you change the gender, but you don't give any benefit to it. And then they just waste Sybil's character and kill her off halfway through with a who gives a fuck attitude. It's not a good movie.
Okay, so then the second thing, obviously, I didn't even realize this about it, that Adam doesn't like about the movie is that Sybil doesn't connect with Rose the same way that she connects with Harry. The third thing he doesn't like is that he doesn't like the fact that Dahlia Gillespie is cut up into two separate characters. She's Christabella and Dahlia, and the Dahlia specific character loved her daughter, as opposed to in the games, in which Dahlia doesn't really care about her daughter at all.
Dahlia Gillespie is a monster in the game.
Like she just wants to raise the god. And those things aside, the movie itself was actually probably, I think, one of the better video game to film adaptations of a movie. Especially because they do keep Pyramid Head. He's not supposed to be in this. Obviously, he's supposed to be connected to James's story. However, they figure out a way to kind of connect him into the story because, and here's a lore thing, in the Silent Hill universe, Pyramid Head is supposed to symbolize one of the cultists from like what the cultists look like in Silent Hill. The cultists of this particular cult that Silent Hill has wear these big red hoods that whenever they come down in front of their face could in fact become the point of the thing. So in a way, what James sees as a guilt, I'm really going to go far in here. What James sees as a form of his guilt is actually a symbol that could be used throughout all of Silent Hill for different people to look in different ways. So the Pyramid Head in the movies, even though it shouldn't be technically as connected to the way James sees Pyramid Head in the games, could just be another symbolic, execution.
Oh, sure, but even if you take
okay to fit into this film.
No, even if you take the Pyramid Head as mythology for part of the Silent Hill rather than the embodiment punishment thing, which is, I totally take that on board as a potential lore thing. It still is inexcusable to shift the character into protecting Heather Mason.
Okay, I'm talking about the first film still. I'm not talking about the second film still. I'm talking about the first film. Well, I'm cutting it up.
It still doesn't make sense.
And the reason I'm cutting it up is because I like the first film. I dislike the second film.
I mean, it doesn't even... I get what you're saying there. But it doesn't even make sense that he's in the first film as a punitive thing, because if that was the case, then the little girl is already in charge of everything in Silent Hill, which means, by definition, she's sending Pyramid Head to attack her mother, which makes no sense.
Yes, it does, because technically she is two separate people.
No, but even if in the two separate people concept, right, she is omnipotent in Silent Hill to all intents and purposes. Because her
human version that goes out into the world is her mother. Is in love with her mother, but the little girl who is the demon, the god in the movie is not.
But the little girl, but she meets the demon on multiple occasions.
But the demon takes over her whenever she's in Silent Hill. That's the whole point.
Yeah, no. But she, the mother, meets the demon child on multiple occasions, and she is essentially omnipotent in Silent Hill.
Yes.
And therefore, there is no reason for Pyramid Head to be running around spook scaring the mother and Sybil.
I think that there is, because the little girl doesn't exactly understand the connection to the mother until she finally actually meets the mother.
What, the little girl who's the demon?
Yes.
Well, but even so, there is no reason for Pyramid Head to be chasing, or even, in the other world. He
chases everybody. Anybody who's not the god in the thing, he chases. He only chases. That's what he does, and that is in supposedly as part of his being under the spell of the little girl, right? Yeah, he pretty much goes and kills everybody he can in the world. Sorry, Jade's gone silent.
Sorry, Jade. Yeah, it devolved already. And we haven't even got into 4, 5, and 6 yet.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
No, regarding this, Jay,
you guys are like arguing tooth and nail. I don't have to be like, hey. Like,
have you seen the movie?
I've seen the first one, and it was enough for me to not want to really see the second one, just based on the horror. Not so much. I didn't know anything about Silent Hill going into seeing those, but I wasn't crazy about the first one, so I didn't have a desire to see the second one.
The second one is dramatically worse than the first. I mean, one thing I will say is that the transition to the other world in the movie is so good, and it is so fantastic that they actually used it in 4 or 5.
The visuals were really good, and the eeriness.
They actually used the other world transition.
The eeriness of the horn, you know.
The horn was pretty good, but obviously directly ripped from.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the movie, so.
The first movie, I'm really one of those fans. I really loved it all the way up until the point where they had the exposition bomb, and that's whenever I hate it. Is because when they explain everything, and I don't think that they had to explain everything, but they felt that because they didn't know if the movie was going to go into a second movie that they had to explain everything, and that really bothered me. But yes, I think that one of the things that I like the most about that film isn't necessarily like we can fight tooth and nail about, like, you know, obviously like how we feel about how this works or whatever, but I think visually.
No, you're right. I agree completely about the visuals.
Yeah, the visual of it is
in fact
is dead on. In fact, it's more dead on than the second one.
They actually use scenes in the first one which are directly from the game, perfectly recreated, and that's that. I agree with you about the visuals. It's 100% good. Okay,
like,
the visuals are great.
They specifically make sets so that they can do the weird, awkward camera angles.
Oh, absolutely! The game. It was built. And it was superbly done.
If you haven't watched the behind the scenes of it, and you're a fan of filmmaking or like
behind the scenes is way better than the actual movie.
Costumes and makeup, it is probably one of my favorite behind the scenes documentaries, other than the Blade Runner one, which is infinitely better. But it's definitely one that you should watch.
No, Dead Eyes, the second Silent Hill movie, truly is awful. I mean, I know I've gone on about the pyramid head being protected, but that's just one of the things. They get so many things wrong in the second Silent Hill movie, and I don't mean wrong from the games. I mean wrong from the first movie. Like, it's not that they can't remember the canon of the games. They don't give a fuck about the canon of the games. They can't remember the movie that came before.
The heart-wrenching thing about the second movie is that he played the games.
Yeah.
He likes the games. And so you watch it and you're like, oh, they're in the hotel that looks exactly like the hotel that you can see in the third game.
Yeah.
And you see, and in the hotel room where you get the red shoe in the movie, you can see the red shoe sitting on the table in the background. Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh, look at that Easter egg. But that's all you're getting. That's the only reason I ever watch that movie. If I ever watch that movie like a second time or a third time or anything, it's only going to be so that I can sit around with a bottle of beer and be like, hey, look at that Easter egg, drink. Mm-hmm. Look at that Easter egg, drink. Because they have like when she's in the mall in the second movie.
Oh, which is, by the way, one of the most clangy...
It's horrible.
misrepresentations of what Silent Hill is about. It's actually amazing.
But in that scene alone, like in the background, the stores are the name of the stores in the game. The Happy Burger is the name of the the Happy Burger is a staple of the Silent Hill games. It's like it's mentioned in like pretty much like really 4 or 5 of them.
About the setting, but he couldn't get the horror right. Like, and that's done, and that is perfectly spotlit right at the beginning when Heather sees the rabbit, right? Because that moment shows you exactly what the movie's going to be. Heather's looking at the rabbit, and then it snap turns, right? And in a really cheap jump scare. Whereas that scene, if the rabbit just slowly turns and maybe makes a weird noise, better in every single way. Mm-hmm. Right? The scene in the mall where it starts off creepy and then the things are just saying her name and stuff and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And then suddenly they're eating offal. And you're like, oh, right. Gotcha. We're being lazy again. You know?
Yeah, it's just like really bad horror.
Oh, this is the scene. This is well played, Jen.
Yeah, it's like a trailer or something. Oh, okay. So
you can see this. Yeah, she's looking at the rabbit right now. It's about to snap. Lazy cunt of a director, you.
Yeah, it's so great. I watched the trailer for this before the movie came out, and I was just like, if that bunny turns its head, I'm not seeing this movie, and he did, and I still went and saw it.
Nah, Dead Eyes. The problem with Resident Evil, we've talked about this before, is the first Resident Evil movie is actually pretty good. They make a half-decent movie. It doesn't follow the games in any way, but it's a half-decent story in the Resident Evil universe. The problem with the movies for Resident Evil is that they constantly want to introduce characters from the games, so it feels like a Resident Evil thing, but then they immediately cast them aside in favor of Ninja Girl. That's the issue. If they continue, they introduce like the most important Resident Evil series, like Chris and Jill, and you're like, what are they there for? Are they there to hold Alice's gun? Yes, they are. Every time, without question. Until you're just depressed as a fan, you don't want to watch them anymore because you're like, which character's getting fucked over this movie? Then it's Claire this time. Sick.
I would argue Nightmare Asylum that yes, the Silent Hill 3's carnival with the cheap jump scares, especially in the haunted house, is a thing. However, I think that the point of the jump scares in the haunted house is supposed to be cheesy, because later when you go back to the haunted house, something completely different happens, and I won't spoil that. So
yeah, the haunted house thing's supposed to be cheap and jokey because it's meant to be. We're not. I suppose we're not spoiling what actually happens on the haunted house, right?
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, because that's super important to the arcing plot.
If you happen to drop something on accident that's a spoiler, the likelihood that I'm going to forget is pretty high.
That's too important.
But yeah,
honestly, that moment's too important. That would be
I'd appreciate it, but also
No, that would be like finding out who Maria is level of spoiler.
So when it comes to us talking about any of the ones after 2, I'm gonna try to be as vague as I possibly can with it. Just in general. So.
Well, we're going to be talking. Yeah, we're not going to be talking.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to get through all the Silent Hill games this episode. We're already almost 2 hours in, and we've
that's
okay.
Probably
jump past the ones that we love to the ones that are bad.
You guys talk about whatever. If we have to have like a reprisal of this at a later date, it's not a big deal. Like,
well, what people want to see is they want to hear me and Adam talking like mad shit, and we're not going to start talking mad shit until the last.
Not until we get out. Not until we get away from
Team Silent and get to Team Silence. Yeah.
Until we get on to Silent Hill 4 and onwards, we're not going to start violently disagreeing because there's no disagreeing. The first 3 games are amazing. The first Silent Hill film's all right, and the second one's really shit. But Silent Hill 4, we
can get into Silent Hill 4 for sure.
Silent Hill 4 is we shouldn't actually. Silent Hill 4 is hard to talk about without spoiling it, I think. I mean, I don't like Silent Hill 4 because I find a very. It's not in Silent Hill for a fucking start.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem right off the bat.
No. Because like we said before, when we were discussing how we wanted to see stories about people who happen to be caught up in the maelstrom, even though they were never in the maelstrom to begin with, Silent Hill 4 is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, if only there had been an actual game around that story, it probably would have been really, really good. But mechanically, it's not very strong, is it?
No, it's a very interesting concept for a game, and they've always wanted to do it as a Silent Hill game, so...
Yes. We should get on the Shattered Memories. We can talk about that one because Jade.
Oh, no, we're going to talk about Silent Hill 4 because it's still a part of Team Silent.
All right, we can talk about Silent Hill 4.
Silent Hill 4 is made by the same people who made Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3. They wanted to make a story that wasn't necessarily a part of Silent Hill, but was connected to Silent Hill. There's lots of people who argue that it was never supposed to be a Silent Hill game. That's true. It wasn't supposed to be one of the main. It wasn't supposed to be one of the main Silent Hill games. However, they put the 4 on it because it was so. Once they were finished with it, it was so connected to Silent Hill in the way that they always wanted it to be that it just seems kind of stupid to not make it a Silent Hill game.
If anything, it should have been like, I don't know. I want to say something like Tales of Silent Hill in the sense of Tales of the Borderlands.
Yeah, something along those lines is what they thought it was going to be, but they continuously, as they made it, it continuously got more and more connected to Silent Hill, so that it was almost stupid for them to not do it. Is kind of how they saw it. But
and
I'm
trying
to think of how to talk about it without like completely ruining certain parts of it.
Like I said, the likelihood that they'll forget some of it is pretty high. So
the room is, while less good than the others, isn't really when it starts to suck.
You're gonna like it, Jade, because it has more to do with ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. It's much more of a spiritual journey than a physical thing.
Yeah. It is
it's much more of
specifically
a
Silent Hill 4 is specifically if you've played Silent Hill 2 and if you remember in the apartment complex, you throw a rock down the laundry chute and you go down and you read some of the notes down there and it talks about a guy who kills himself with a spoon and he's a serial killer and stuff. Silent Hill 4 is about that person.
Yep.
And it talks about like why he did that and who he killed and like the ghosts and stuff and how they're connected to him and everything like that. However, you're not playing him. You're playing somebody who is a part of gets grabbed by the maelstrom because that person is connected to Silent Hill.
But not in a good way, like in 2, in a really boring way. This is the problem with
it's
4.
hard. Like the way that I see it is Silent Hill 2. This is where me and Adam we're gonna have our parting of ways on this kind of a subject.
The origin of this is like the fork. This is the start of the fork in the road. The true fork.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I played through 4 and I didn't hate it.
Is that Silent Hill 2 is such a good game that I know it's this pinnacle of video game, not even horror, that I try really hard to not completely compare everything to it, which is one of the reasons that I am okay with the fact that, yes, it's not as good as Silent Hill 2, but it's still a very good story with a really interesting mechanic to the game and really great characters that connect back to the lore of the game, and they do so in such a way that is interesting.
You're giving it an awful lot of credit there. It's a reasonable story with a reasonable game that connects back to Silent Hill. I don't know.
It's about serial killers. One thing that I love. I'm surprised you.
Yeah, I enjoy serial killers as much as the next, right? But once you've come off the thunderstorm of Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, it's just such a lazy, weak-ass version.
Can't compare it to 2, though. You can't.
Why can't you compare it to 2? It's in the same game series, let alone in the same genre.
Because there's never going to be another game like Silent Hill 2.
You can compare Ocarina of Time to Twilight.
How are you ever going to make a pussy better than that pussy that's on a pedestal?
You can't, and you never will, and that's fine. But the point is like you can compare Ocarina of Twilight Princess. No, Ocarina of Time is 100 times better. You can compare Ocarina of Time to Link to the Past or any other game in the Zelda series, even though Ocarina of Time is the best.
Jade.
Right. Ha ha!
If you guys are just listening in, she literally just put "ha ha" over her character's avatar on the screen.
But this is the point at which it becomes. This is the point at which it becomes a problem, because if you don't want to compare it to Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, then you have to divorce it from the series entirely. And if you want to divorce it from the series entirely, then the story doesn't work. Right? You have to connect it to Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 because it is so implicitly connected to
3.
So you have to compare it.
I will say this is that like on a critical level that I don't know if it's better than 1 and 2. However, to me, Silent Hill 4 is better than 1.
Oh, come on! Let's not get really silly here. Okay.
No, I'm being fair. Like Silent Hill 1 is so clanky. The story is a little silly.
The story is not silly in 1.
Oh yeah, it's way better in 3 than it is in 1.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but it's still 3 is better than 1
the
in
mythos,
terms of the story.
And I feel like it gives a stronger mythos to the Silent Hill universe in 4 than it does in 1.
Oh, it doesn't at all give a stronger mythos to the universe in Silent Hill 4 than 1. In fact, it doesn't do anything better in Silent Hill 4 than 1, apart from the mechanics specifically of the game, which is like, because it's 12 years later. You know, you can't...
It gives more in-depth detail of like what's going on in the lore than 1 does.
But that's because 1 is the first game. You can't expect to get lore dump in the first game. If you can't
compare things, then how am I not supposed to compare that?
All right, so if you compare... Okay, fair enough. You compare the lore to Silent Hill 1. In that case, go back to comparing it to Silent Hill 2 and it'll look like a piece of shit.
Well, Silent Hill 2, we've already said, is like a pinnacle of gaming.
You compare it to Silent Hill 3, then it still looks like a piece of shit by comparison. Like, and that's really problematic because it came right after Silent Hill 3, right?
No.
But Silent Hill 3 is 100 times better game. It's so much stronger.
Well,
The-
in gameplay wise, yeah. Pretty
Yeah, but it is
wise,
a
yeah.
game.
But story wise, no. Silent Hill 2 is the
for a
best story,
start.
hands down.
Oh yeah, Silent Hill 2 is the best story, but Silent Hill 3's story kicks the arse out of Silent Hill 4's.
I
And
didn't
Silent Hill
argue
4.
that.
Well, what?
I said Silent Hill 4 was better than Silent Hill 1.
What, in terms of the story?
Yes.
No, the story of
Yeah.
Silent Hill 1 is epic and powerful while being psychologically draining and damaging, whereas Silent Hill 4 is insular because of its very nature. So it can't be like
The only downside to Silent Hill 4 that I have, that I could see where you'd be arguing that Silent Hill 1 is better, is that you're not necessarily playing the main protagonist of the story. However, I do feel like the connection that they have between the main character in Silent Hill 4 and the main character of the story is interesting enough that it does explain better lore through
also
Walter.
the character in the leading character in Silent Hill knob compared to the leading character in
Yes.
Silent Hill 1, the only
Yes,
in the entire
I'll give you
history
that.
of Silent Hill. Like he again, but he's
Henry
not-
is
unlike-
probably the least likable character in all of the Silent Hill
but
games.
unlike Silent Hill 2, when you're playing as James and you're repelled by him, but you don't think he's a dick. You think he's a terrible person, which he is, and you should, right?
That's because in Silent Hill 4, they were trying really hard to do the idea of a character that doesn't talk and doesn't do anything, so you can insert yourself into that character. And they even said that they tried a whole bunch of new things out with 4, that they wanted to see what they could do more with the Silent Hill series in that sense. And I think that that was one of the downsides of Silent Hill 4.
Well,
is
especially
that
considering that you've made
it's
three
supposed to be a
characters
linked
that you can.
character.
Well, the problem with that in Silent Hill universe is that they already have a tried and tested connecting you to the character via three-dimensionality. And
But if they continue to do the same thing over and over again, how is the story going to grow? It's never going to grow.
well, yeah, but
Even
unfortunately,
Team Silent, the very first team that made us Silent Hill 2 knew that they had to branch off and try new things in gaming. Otherwise, it was going to be the same stuff over and over again, and they were just going to jump the shark.
Was it
Yeah, but
constantly the same team doing all those?
The Silent
For the
Hill 1,
first
2,
four.
3, and 4 is made by what is considered to be Team Silent, which
Okay.
is the Japanese team. Silent Hill Homecoming, which is Silent Hill 5, is made
which is
by
truly garbage, by the way.
is we'll get to it, is
Mhm.
made by the first Western team. It is actually developed by somebody outside of Konami, and Konami oversaw the development. Then they do the same thing with a few other games, and there's only actually, I think, 2 of the newer games that are actually developed mostly at Konami, one of which is kind of half and half with a company that was in Sweden. So the first 4 Silent Hill games, why they're so loved by everyone, is because they're the only 4 games that were built in-house by Konami. They were made by a Japanese team, which everybody knows that we all freaking cream ourselves over fucking Japanese creators because they
As we
do
should.
horror well. But I will point out this, is that all the first few Silent Hill games, 1 through 4, all those Silent Hill games, even though it's done by a Japanese Japanese team, use aesthetics from Western culture. They used Western towns as their
Well, of course,
as their
because
themes.
they went hard
used-
onto the.
They used Western
They didn't want
movies
to.
for their scenes. Silent Hill 2 has specific scenes in it that are made to look almost exactly like Blue Velvet. There is specific buildings in Silent Hill 2 that are based off of Kindergarten Cop, of all fucking things.
Yeah,
Like,
amazingly enough.
They so it's a good one of the reasons that I think that the first few Silent Hills are so adored is because the Japanese team picked up on things that Western culture does right when it comes to horror and movies and entertainment, and they just branched off of that while connecting it back to the whole idea of the Japanese horror.
Absolutely. And that's very much correct. And I like the way that you kept inserting in the one of the 4 most. That was a nice touch. Even though 4 doesn't deserve to be in the same company as 1, 2, and 3, and never will do. It is made by Team Silent. That's the connection, even though it's a much worse version. And it also is where the rot begins in Silent Hill. Because if the reason for branching out in horror is to do new things and evolve, then Silent Hill evolved right down the toilet. From a position of incredible height and valor, it pretty much, game after game after game, threw itself further down the mountain until it was crying at the bottom.
I don't feel like it evolved down completely. I feel like it evolved back and forth and into the Konami hole.
To the hole of all things Konami, where everything goes to die.
Exactly. So, like, while I know that none of the other games reach the pinnacle of beauty and wonder that is Silent Hill 2, which sometimes makes me almost hate it more because of the fact that it's everybody fucking splooges all over it all the time, that I feel like it tried new things out, and some of those new things worked really well, and some of those things didn't. And yes, they never reached the exact pinnacle and pedestal of Silent Hill 2, but at least they tried something new, and they didn't go down the same fucking route of Resident Evil, which went down, it like literally rolled down the hill. Like, I feel like Silent Hill had some peaks there. You know what I mean?
Well, when
Resident Evil just rolled down a hill.
When were the peaks in Silent Hill's downward trajectory?
I think that Silent Hill
Shattered Memories isn't a peak.
Game.
Shattered Memories is not a peak.
Yeah, it is.
Not a peak.
It is a peak.
A weird remake set in the ice of the first game is not a fucking peak.
It is. It is.
Shattered Memories is not a peak in the Silent Hill degeneration, and
it is.
Say that, like, going down from 4 and, you know, like Downpour, and then suddenly Shattered Memories makes it better. Like, Shattered Memories, if anything, was like a parody of Silent Hill. It was so very poor. What's that? Konami code leads you to that hole. No, but seriously, Shattered Memories is very terrible. Okay, it takes the ridiculously good Silent Hill 1 and essentially misfocuses it completely. Transposes it for some reason into the ice.
I've already discussed how I felt about Silent Hill 1, so that's where we're going to have this argument, is that I feel like they tried something completely new with Shattered Memories, and it was a very interesting concept because they took a game that was based off of like this like really like in-depth lore, which I love, don't get me wrong, but they made it in such a way that it's more of a psychological thing than it is a in-depth monsters and gods lore thing, which you love. I understand you love that, but I like the more psychological aspect behind Silent Hill, and Silent Hill Shattered Memories takes the idea of Silent Hill 1 and makes it more psychological.
I know it's not what people want, but it's good that you said that, because I was about to make a nasty comment about me liking games that are good and you liking games that are, you know, doing something new. So it's good that you said the thing about gods versus psychological, because that distracted me from making that catty comment about, you know.
Yeah, because that's two different things. Like, you went into your into schooling and everything for philosophy, like, of religion. Like, you're all about the religious aspect of things, and I understand that that's why you like those games, like you like the Silent Hill games, and that's one of the reasons I like the Silent Hill games, and I love 1 and 3 and all that kind of stuff. But like, I feel like it's a completely Shattered Memories takes that story and goes, hey, what if there was no gods and lore, and it's the same exact story? Like, how would that story be told? And then they tell it. Oh, no, it's not badly.
It's not good. Shattered Memories is really, really
the only downside I will say that I understand people dislike about Shattered Memories is that sometimes the chase sequences can get a little much. Other than that, the story of it is great. I love the fact that instead of going with the rusty, nasty, bloody point of horror, they went to this idea of being isolated and alone with frost and
that's another thing. If you get at what point wasn't Silent Hill isolated anyway? Why did we even need the ice?
Because they changed the color palette. That's all they did, Adam.
But this is conceptually shifting Silent Hill when they changed said color.
Every single person that goes to Silent Hill sees it in a different way. We've already discussed that. So the idea behind that game is that they see it as a frozen wasteland as opposed to being
that's the same character.
A one or a bloody one. It's not the same character. It's a different universe. It's a different, completely different.
It kind of reminds me of how, not to get too spoilery about the new Twin Peaks, but like every time we've watched it, and we're pretty far behind, all of us, but and I don't necessarily disagree with this because I'm kind of getting fed up with it, but the point remains that Adam is really frustrated every time they leave Twin Peaks because the show is called Twin Peaks, but like so far, like 75% of it has not taken place in Twin Peaks at all.
Mostly it's in Vegas. It should be called Twin Vegas.
So it seems to me, like just from what I'm hearing from this, that and maybe I'm wrong, that it's not taking place in actual Silent Hill or that kind of.
It's like a different universe.
Yeah,
it's like an Elsewhere. What's that thing
I always
DC does?
compare
The
it
Elsewhere,
to,
not.
yeah. I always compare it to like the alternate universe DC. So like in DC in general, or not DC, in Marvel. So in X-Men, in the normal version of X-Men, Rogue is into Gambit, right? But there's an alternate universe where Rogue is into Magneto, and Magneto and her have a kid because he can use his like magnetic energy to make it so they feel like they're touching, but they're not actually touching. So she doesn't steal his like energy. They can
which is exactly how magnets work, by the way.
Whatever. Anyway, but like there's an alternate story. You know what I mean? Like to like what would have happened if this world would have been different in this way. And I feel like that's what Shattered Memories is. So it's not necessarily the idea of like taking like Silent Hill and basing it somewhere else. Silent Hill Shattered Memories is in Silent Hill. It's just not the same Silent Hill we know. It's like a remake of it, if that makes sense. Like an alternate.
I mean, it's just such a lazy game.
Sex magnet.
Sex magnet. Sex magnet.
Does Magneto know how to use 3 seashells? No one knows how to use 3 seashells, Green Man.
No one's ever known that. But no, this is the thing that Shattered. I mean, not Downpour. That's terrible. The Room. I can absolutely give on The Room and say, yeah, it's okay. Not garbage, right? It's not terrible, okay? But it's not anywhere near as good as 1, 2, or 3. It's just really, really average. But Shattered Memories is implicitly lazy. The concept of it is lazy. Because they're just reusing the same story and then adding extra bits on. It's like DLCing the first game, you know?
Nah.
And that is a part of what I have a problem with Shattered Memories. The other problem is because it is an Elsewhere concept. Is that the name of what the DC thing is? Is it called Elsewhere when they go somewhere else? Like in Injustice, Gods Among Us. That's like an Elsewhere or
kind of.
I don't know what the phrase is.
Somebody in chat will probably bring it up. Yeah.
And I think it's Elsewhere or something. Anyway, the whole problem with the Elsewhere Silent Hill is the desire to do something different, which is, as you say, a valuable thing. I'm not saying that it's not good to do Elseworld, is it?
Yeah.
It's not bad to do something new. You know, of course it's good to evolve. Of course it is. Okay. But every time they try and do something new, it's lazy. Making the protagonist faceless in 4 rather than giving him 3-dimensionality is designed, as you rightly say, to make the character someone you can put on as yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
All it really means is that you don't have to character develop. And in Silent Hill 5, shifting it into this Elsewhere location, doing the retelling of what the story would be if it didn't have the cult and stuff, it's just taking one and doing 30% of the work again.
Okay, and the difference between these two games is that one of them is made by Team Silent and the other one is not.
Absolutely, and that is a very important
so point. If you look, so a Western audience or a Western team is given this game and they're like told, like make more Silent Hill games, but they don't want to necessarily change or add anything to the lore of the original team because they're afraid of the backlash of it. So they do the recreation of the first one into like some sort of different thing, a la the idea of doing the different Romeo and Juliet or whatever, you know what I mean? So
and when does that ever work?
Laz Marmon did a really awesome Romeo and Juliet. You don't like it, but...
No, the gun has the word dagger written on it just so the lazy crappy writing can include the dagger speech. It smashes you in the face with it. Couple that with John Leguizamo literally being the most playboy fucking cunt.
What? The idea of John Leguizamo and Playboy being in the same sentence is funny to me. That you think that.
Have we skipped Silent Hill? Have we skipped Silent Hill Origins? No.
Okay. Silent Hill Origins was actually the Westerns trying to make a game that was exactly like the original Silent Hills and failing horribly.
Just like everything is wrong.
The reason that they even tried to do that was because when fucking Konami had the game completely outhoused to whatever studio, I think it was Double Helix that did Silent Hill Homecoming. The people hated it so much that they told their team and the Western audience that they had to make a game that was exactly like the original ones. And even though they didn't necessarily enjoy doing it, they did it anyway. And guess what? People hated that too. So it's like there's just no way.
The reason for that isn't like. You can talk about it in terms of like the studio involvement, and sure, that's a big part, right? But Homecoming is terrible, really awful as a game.
It is the black sheep, I think. Like if I consider all my Silent Hill babies to be, like if I consider all the Silent Hill games to be my children, like Silent Hill Homecoming is definitely one of the black sheep, followed directly by Silent Hill Origins.
You know, and because Homecoming is so terrible, then asking them to. I understand why they asked them. But then it's like asking a group of 10-year-olds to fucking paint the Sistine Chapel. You know, the people they got to do it had not anything like the skill of Team Silent.
See, and this is the issue, is that they quickly found a team to do something. I don't know if we wanted to get, we're already 2 hours into the podcast. I didn't know if we wanted to get into the new games or not.
That's up to you guys. We can have a time.
We'll wrap up Silent Hill. We have to hit
what?
Yeah, you cut out.
Silent Hill PT because Jane's actually played that.
Well, we can do that in the next one.
Yeah, that's up to you guys. It's not a big deal. Like, this seems to be this ongoing conversation that we'll definitely have to do a second one at some point. And I don't mind if we keep going a little bit longer. So.
Yeah, because if we start getting into the Western, I feel like if we get into the Western team now, like this is going to be like, we haven't even scratched the surface of memories yet.
You've only just like pricked the
4-hour podcast.
The massive boil is the fight between me and Avianna about Silent Hill in the later years. Because while I can give on, The Room, and while I do think Shattered Memories is a lazy waste of a game, that is nothing compared to how much I hate Origins and Homecoming. And that's what I'm saying though, Adam, is that like I know you don't like Shattered Memories as much as the originals. No. But what I'm saying is that if you follow this trail of what you say is going into a hole, like Shattered Memories did well. The
people
closest
like
I
Shattered Memories. There's lots and lots of people.
It's the same story as one, which was good.
No, it's not the same story as one. It's like the very, very like crust of the same story as one, but it's completely different. It's just
it's all the good stuff removed, left in with all the
the good stuff. It's the more human part of Silent Hill 1 is more put into a more human version in Shattered Memories than it is about gods and demons and cults. It's put into the story about a daughter and her father and their whole story, like of how they connect as people, as opposed to the first one, where it's not necessarily focused on that as much as it's about this town and the gods and saving the daughter. That's fine, but this one, but Shattered Memories goes more in depth of how a daughter connects to her father than the first one does, and you can't you can argue with me on that one. I understand.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that is what makes the game worse. I'm not saying that you're not correct. Like, that is exactly what the intention of Shattered Memories was to take away all the stuff that was good and leave us with all the like meandering human relationship trash, right? But
human relationship trash. Okay.
No, but that is what hamstrings the game, because it still wants to be a horror game.
But psychologically, it is a horror game. I don't want to ruin the concept of it, but what the main protagonist is going through is a real life horror.
Well, yeah, but it's a real life horror without the actual. I mean, the elements of horror are dramatically twisted, and it becomes almost the kind of horror you would find in a murder mystery, rather than the kind of horror that you would find in a horror.
I will give you that.
And that makes it not, for a start, a horror game. So, but it still wants to be a horror game. Yeah, but it does, because they still want it to be a horror game. Hence all the chasing shit, right?
But it connects back to the psychological aspect of it if you think about what the whole concept of the story is.
Only
yes,
vaguely.
yes, that is a trope of horror, but it's also a trope of other things.
Sure.
It's an overlap trope.
Yeah. It's a place they could have well done with going without. But even if we accept that Shattered Memories is only slightly worse than 4, and 4 is much worse than 3, and then it free falls in Homecoming, and
what I'm saying is that this is how the games were released. So it's 1, 2, and 3. 1 through 4 were released.
Mm-hmm.
Then Homecoming was released.
I was just about
almost directly after that is Origins release. A few years later is Shattered Memories release. Even further jump later is Downpour, and then a few years after Downpour, we get Book of Memories, which is kind of like, it's not a part of the main.
I don't even count Book of Memories, really.
We're going to talk about it anyway, though, because otherwise people are going to argue. Like somebody just said in chat, Origins isn't nearly as bad as the Vita version, which is Book of Memories. So we'll have to talk about that.
Book of Memories isn't even really canon.
It is canon. Technically, the stuff is canon in it, but it's not a part of the main genre. So it's kind of like what's we were just talking about earlier about like the X-Files spinoff.
Oh, what, the Elsewhere shit?
The X-Files.
No, the
Millennium
or whatever,
Millennium,
where it's like oh, there's that one episode where Mulder and Scully are in it, but other than that, it's still in the same universe, but it's not technically a part of like the original X-Files series. Like that's kind of what Book of Memories is.
I suppose that's kind of what it is. But then it lacks what you seem to want, which is, the human relationship element, and it lacks the proper horror of Silent Hill. Essentially, what you get is something that is paler than both.
I think we should get to that. I don't want to see. There's so many things you can dive in.
It's not a canon. It's a video game. I mean, my arms are kind of tired, so I can't be bothered to slow clap. But can you assume that I'm mocking you right now, my son? Take on board that I hold you in contempt, even if I don't actually slow clap. No, but so this is
what you're saying. What we're arguing, though, when it comes to the downhill spiral of Silent Hill, is you're saying that it downward spirals because of the horror aspect. What I'm saying is, game-wise, I feel like it has peaks, like gameplay-wise.
I mean, this is the thing. Even including Shattered Memories in the canonical, I mean, you can't even include it in the canon because elsewhere, right?
Yeah, it's not a part of the canon.
So it's not even part of the canon of Silent Hill. So I almost would make the case that it needs to be divorced entirely from the Silent Hill chronology.
That's why it doesn't have a number in it. Origins is supposed to be Silent Hill 0, Homecoming
I know.
5, Shattered Memories doesn't have a number behind it.
But I think we should, if we're even going to discuss the downhill trajectory of Silent Hill games, Silent Hill Shattered Memories as a remake, essentially, of one aspect of one, shouldn't even be in the canon. Not the canon. It's not in the canon. It shouldn't even be in the list.
But it's called Silent Hill. That's why we're putting it.
Okay, so in that case, we should include like Silent Hill pachinko machines.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because if we're going to include Shattered Memory, they have the same.
It's chronologically considered to be part of the series. That's
chronologically, I suppose. Yeah. In terms that I guess, but. I would make the case that it doesn't get counted in terms of the trajectory of Downward Hill Terrible, because it is simply a remake, and a lazy one at that, of the first game.
Opinions.
I can't wait to get further into I can't wait to get further into the series so that I can like weigh both sides of these.
Oh yeah, we're being very like careful to walk around the plot.
Right.
So we don't actually spoil any of the plots for it, in case you actually play some of these games.
Yeah.
Seriously, you don't have to play. Even if you do play 4 and Shattered Memories, do you have a Wii?
No, I sold it.
Sick.
Don't play it on Wii anyway. It's the controllers are kind of blah on Wii.
I actually did play it on Wii, and it was very awful. But that might be because of the nunchuck.
They were trying to because Konami wanted them to use the
the technology.
Controls. Yeah, they did this weird thing with like there's parts where you're in a wheelchair or you're swimming or you're doing stuff like that where you have to use the nunchucks for that stuff. Mm-hmm. Which when they ported it to PlayStation 2, it wasn't in there. It wasn't. So it wasn't. No.
No, I mean in terms of like I am so excited to watch you play through. Because 3 is amazing, and you'll probably love it more than any of the others, I would say.
Yeah, I think that you'll like Silent Hill 3 a lot, specifically because
Silent Hill 3 will be, I think, your favorite of the ones when you come down to it at the end.
Cool.
4 you'll probably like as well because
of ghosts
and ghost women and creepy generalness, and it does have a lot of them in it, and it's serial killers, and there's some good stuff in there. There is.
So I'm curious. Considering we mentioned PT is the one that I have played, and of course we all know that I loved it, but it was never to be. There was no real information beyond it just being a thing, right? I mean, would it fit in? Would it have truly fit into the?
Well, it would probably have been like 2 or 4, quite honestly, based on what on the nothing that we saw. It would probably have been more of a.
Sure, though.
Oh, I cannot. This is a guess, okay? My guess, based on the fact that it felt a little bit like, I don't know, it's just a vibe, not based on any fact or any information, because we have nothing, right? The vibe I got from PT was more of a circling Silent Hill rather than a Gods and Monsters vibe. And so it felt more like 2 than it did like 3. But that's a pure vibe, you know. There's
there's no real connection.
I was just curious.
I honestly felt like he was going to completely reimage Silent Hill, which I was okay with. Like I like the idea of it just reimaging, because I don't really know, like, just because he's Japanese and he has like the Japanese like concept of horror, and he was running around with you know Del Toro, who has like the whole Spanish horror, which we all know is different than the Japanese horror, and it's also just as good. Like that, it was going to be a completely new outlook on Silent Hill, and I was completely okay with that. So I'm not really sure if I could say, hey, it's going to be exactly like Silent Hill 2, because I think it's going to be completely different than Silent Hill 2.
It may have been. You may be completely right. I say this based upon like Del Toro. Didn't Del Toro do like Pan's Labyrinth and The Orphanage and stuff like that?
Devil's Backbone.
I haven't actually seen all of that. I keep getting halfway through and then falling asleep. But the kind of horror that Del Toro favors plays heavily into Silent Hill's style anyway, because he likes the sort of dreamscape, creepy, unsettling shit. In fact, Pan's Labyrinth has stuff in it that I think fell right out of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
The thing with eyes in its hands. It's so very much like Silent Hill. You know, it feels like it would have been the same flavor of Silent Hill in PT. No matter whether they went with a whole storyline or something that felt like a 2 sort of circly, or even if they played into the whole Gods and Monsters thing, which was unlikely at this point, but potential, you know, I think it would have probably been more like 2 than anything else, because we know that like What's His Fuck was in it, so he was obviously going to be an important part of it.
Yeah.
So it would have been much more likely to be the story of X rather than the story of you know.
I don't know. It's like I still have Silent Hill 2 as this on a pedestal game, and I'm not sure if even.
Oh, I don't think PT.
I know everybody gets their fucking. I know everybody gets their fucking like panties in a gym and like a jizzy over that guy, but like I don't know if he would be able to pull off, you know.
I don't think for a second that PT would have been better than 2.
Yeah, well, PT's
even if it had been a game, right? Even if it had been a game as good as the trailer that we played, I still don't think it would have been better than Silent Hill 2, because there's levels of importance to Silent Hill 2 that this one could never have achieved anyway.
It would have been hard to eclipse, you know, something that,
considering the style, it's going right up against something like Amnesia.
It was a completely different style. It had a completely different vibe. Like Silent Hill just kind of had this unsettling feeling to it, whereas PT had that, but like under a magnifying glass in a completely different way. It was just
Well, of course. I mean, they were trying to show off as well.
And that's what I was going to bring up. Like expanded into a full length game. We don't really know how it could have been. Maybe they would have been able to.
I mean,
inject that in. I don't know.
I feel like when I played PT and when I watched other people play PT, that it had the definite vibes of Silent Hill. I liked that it had some of the more loved tropes of Silent Hill. So I feel like they would have done a really good job. Like I could go through and I could probably like play that game and be like, okay, this is a trope. This is a trope.
And I think honestly, if I had to guess, I think PT would have looked like Resident Evil.
Yeah,
honestly.
It probably would have.
I feel like if it had been a game, PT would have been Resident Evil 7 because Resident Evil 7 is drowning in tropes.
Seven, but more in a dreamscape than in.
Well, yeah, but that's because Silent. I mean Silent Hilly.
It would have, it would have come before, but it would have had that same.
I think they would have felt like the
vibe
same
because it's apparent that Resident Evil 7 took notes from that.
Silent Hill loves its fetuses.
They enjoy their fetuses. Maria,
Claudia Wolf.
Well,
Claudia Wolf, you can't stop that bitch.
Going back to playing those first ones, I heard I heard a lot of sounds that because I played PT so many times.
Sure.
Yep.
In 1 and 2, I would hear a sound and I'd be like, oh, I recognize that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they totally.
They
ripped
the
all
entire
about
sound.
Using different senses to tell a story,
which is something that Silent Hill always did better than
really grabbed. PT really grabbed that, and I feel like there's only a few of the non-team Silent games that grab that as well, and some of the ones that didn't do as well, or because they didn't grab the other senses.
Like Fatal Frame 2 does it particularly well, but that's because they're aping Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's because they're copying, and not even the team will say and did say, you know, that the sounds. If there's one thing that Silent Hill changed the landscape of horror on forever, it was sound design.
Yep, because Akira is amazing.
Oh God,
he did their music and the sound,
and that's the one thing I won't argue ever with sound for the later games. If he was involved,
yeah, he was involved in all of them except for Downpour. Actually, he was involved in some of the sounds in Downpour, just not the
but not the track. But this is the thing. That's the one thing that the Silent Hill games never get worse at, because he was always amazing, and the soundtracks and the sound design never gets weaker. It's the only thing that doesn't get terrible by the time you third Origins.
Another positive thing about Silent Hill Shattered Memories is I feel like it's one of his better soundtracks, but
I would say it's definitely the third best. Like 2 and 3 are better. Come on. Come on.
I don't know.
I'll give you 1, but it's not better than 2 and 3.
There's certain songs on Shattered Memories that are better than 2 and 3, I think.
But there's not for the overall thing.
Overall, I think 2 may beat it, but 3, I don't know.
3 has got an amazing soundtrack.
Also an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah, 4 does have a really good
awesome soundtrack.
But 3 is but 3 though at the end, and we can't talk about it. But look, you know what I'm talking about, okay? You know what I mean, okay? 3 at the end. Fucking amazing.
I think it's safe to say it's like Silent Hill soundtracks in general are just all so good. It's hard to argue which ones are better than others, because some of them have like I feel word songs, like songs with lyrically that Silent Hill 4 and Silent Hill Shattered Memories have some of the best songs. However,
but that's because
song in Silent Hill 2 is probably one of the best Silent Hill songs.
That's what I was going to say.
Was. So like it's like arguing like which album is better by a band you like based off of this one has the best song, but this album has more better like songs in collection. You know what I mean?
That part was particularly difficult not to spoil, by the way. I hope you note how careful and loving we're being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God!
You just played Silent Hill 3.
I just looked over.
Come on.
She's She's like blinking, stifle.
Stymied anger. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. Okay. Yeah, but Shattered Memories has got a better soundtrack than 1, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Silent One's got like one good song. The lyric song of that sucks ass.
Honestly, the thing with Silent Hill 1 is, much as it's beloved, Silent Hill 1 is nothing more than the stepping stone to Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
Like, everything in Silent Hill 1 is a rough version of Silent Hill 2. It's like a sketch of Silent Hill 2 that's still to come. And then they perfected it. Which is why I tend to recommend people, I think I said it to you, Jay, that you might as well just play Silent Hill 2 first. It won't matter if you don't. And you'll probably prefer it. I know you went in order and that was fine as well.
The only games that you need to play in order is 1 and 3. That's the only game.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter otherwise. They jank around anyway. It doesn't.
Cool.
None of the other ones are connected.
I mean, it helps if you've played 1, 2, 3 before 4, because otherwise you'll miss out on an awful lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
But if you play 4 and then you go back and play 1, 2, and 3, then as you play the games, you're like, oh,
it's kind
that's a good point, actually.
It's helpful to know that 1 through 4 is kind of considered like a base series, because that means, for me, I at least want to play those. And
I mean,
if I choose to do the others, that's fine. I'll just do it later on my own. But I definitely want to play those.
In all seriousness, like, if you're going to play 1 through 4, those are all, like, 4 isn't as 1, 2, and 3, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not great, right? Like 1, 2, and 3. But after 4, it really does toilet like a fucking crazy bitch. Like, no, Downpours sucks, and Origins is worse, and Homecoming is garbage.
Opinions.
Right? Opinions that are based on, like, empirical fact. Right? Like, there is nothing about, I mean, okay, Downpour we can argue
based
about.
On your opinions of what you feel is important for a game.
No, not really fair when you're talking about Homecoming. Right? You know Homecoming and Origins are steaming shit. And we can argue about why they're so bad, but you know they are so bad.
There's parts of them that I like. Like I told you, Silent Hill is like my children. So I have, like, even the shittiest of the children, I have things that I like about it. Silent Hill, Homecoming.
Homecoming and Origins are the children that either grow up to actually murder a woman, vicious circumstances, right? Or they're the child that grows up and never moves out of the house and lives downstairs and sticks to chairs.
Let's see how the chat feels about this, okay? Silent Hill Homecoming. Boss, if you played it, you obviously know that, like, it's shit. Like, it's pretty shitty. However, let's look at the monsters for that game. Interesting concepts.
What are we talking about here?
Silent Hill Homecoming. Interesting concepts for monsters. They look interesting. They're well thought out as opposed to Downpour. But the boss fights in Silent Hill Homecoming are some of the most fun boss fights that are in any of the Silent Hill games.
But they're not some of the best boss fights, are they? They're
fun. Oh my god, are they fun? The doll boss fight is probably one of the most fun boss fights.
But they're not upsetting or unsettling or interesting.
Yeah, I think the doll one is.
I don't know.
The doll one is, for sure. And then you have Origins, which has a very interesting story. It's too bad that they used a butcher character when it's pretty much just another pyramid head. There's like they had like a good concept. It's just that they decided too much that they wanted to base it off of all the other Silent Hill games. If they would have taken their concept and like pushed it forward, it would have been way better.
Who's Adam Blampede from what culture?
I don't know.
Guess we gotta find out.
I need to find out if Masonic's a cunt or not. Let's find out if this guy's actually English.
The fucking human centipede.
Adam Blampede's 10 favorite films of all time.
I could go into a whole thing about Silent Hill Homecoming. I know a lot about what happened with Silent Hill Homecoming.
I've rewritten this list 8 separate
times. We can do that in another episode.
See, my actual quotes.
I'm just looking at what culture Adam Blampede.
I mean, he just sounds British to me.
That's fine. Okay then. As long as it's just that is British rather than is a twat, and then it's not an insult. That's okay. Plumpy from what culture? That still doesn't actually help me.
Anyway.
They talk about how they love it.
I do sound a bit like I do sound not a lot. I don't think. I think we're different parts of Britain, but I see your point. We're both circling London.
I think one of my favorite quotes by somebody who hates everything but loves Silent Hill 2 is this one. Let me see if I can't find it.
So before
right.
talk about other stuff.
Masonic isn't a monster. It's okay.
while we're still going, and we haven't brought it up yet. Obviously they both are like fanatical about some Silent Hill, especially LadyAvianna, who's done a lot of cosplay, which we haven't really shown off. She linked it earlier, but we can.
If you type !Silent Hill in the chat, it'll link you to a page that has some of my Silent Hill costumes.
Yeah,
oh,
this isn't even all of it, I guess, but she's done a lot of Silent Hill cosplay.
I was trying to make it.
I should have this, right?
A costume from every single Silent Hill game, if not multiple from games that I really love.
I should have this, shouldn't I? Hold on. I should have this emote, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Booyah!
So I just recently finished a Maria costume, so that's not. I don't have any pictures of that up, and see, that's a character. That's a Silent Hill.
Did you win something for that?
Yes, I did. Won Best to Walk On.
If only it was from a slightly better game.
And then
we're cool, Masonic. Sorry, I thought
I have multiple.
We're good, man.
Silent Hill 3 isn't necessarily like it's up there, and sometimes it's more of my favorite than others. However, Silent Hill 3 has some of the best story characters in it, so that I've cosplayed a heck of a lot more characters from Silent Hill 3 than I have any other game. I'd love to cosplay as Heather in a specific outfit that I won't spoil for.
That's my favorite cosplay of yours, the Claudia Wolf.
Yeah, Claudia Wolf is pretty awesome.
Oh, that one. I mean, like, I love your Maria, but I think this one is better as a costume. It resonates more intensely because it's such a like non-complex costume.
Claudia is one of my I have a thing for tragic villains, and Claudia is definitely like a tragic villain.
She is also a massive twat, though, so that mitigates the tragedy.
And that's from the horrible game that everybody hates.
And they should. It's a good cosplay, but they should hate that game, and it's right that they do.
I actually, with that costume, added to the lore of the series, even though it technically doesn't count.
Well, I did say that Silent Hill's transition to the other world was added into, I think, 4 or 5. Was it 4? I think it was. They added in the Paul Britt's soundy the posh or Cockney. What about the Beatles? Do the Beatles sound posh or Cockney?
There's some, just as like an aside, there is some Silent Hill comic books. However, if it's written, or if the art's done by anybody other than Menton, I don't recommend reading them. They're not very good. But the ones that are done by Menton are awesome.
Yeah.
I've also wanted to cosplay some of his characters.
No, I mean,
not to say that the artist makes it bad. It's just that's just the first artist that they had. He did like a series of like 4 different stories, but the 4 different stories were written by 4 different people that totally sucked. His art was amazing, but the stories sucked. And then the guy who did the writing for the Silent Hill comics, the ones that Minton drew, is a guy at IDW, and he does really amazing story arcs for comics, and he really understood Silent Hill. Like, he was spot on with his one of them is, what's it called? I'll look it up right now.
As an aside, I want you to play Silent Hill.
Past Life, and then something. What's the other one? Go ahead. I'll look it
up. As an aside, the other reason I really want you to share my indignity about the Silent Hill 2 movie. And once you play Silent Hill 3, you will.
Yeah.
Rather than, sitting, because you've not seen the Silent Hill 2 game, now you're in a state. But if you've played Silent Hill 3 and seen the movie, you'll share my hate. Your hatred will become mine, will coalesce together in one ball of rage. And you will. Oh, you will. The second you've played 3 and seen the second movie, Scots aren't Brits, Scots aren't British, but Britain includes Scotland and Ireland and Wales, Corbel. Scots aren't English, is probably what you mean.
Yeah, Silent Hill Sinner's Reward and Silent Hill Past Life are really amazing comics, and I know that Adam does not like Downpour, but Silent Hill Downpour and Story
I've not
is a
actually
really
read the
great
Downpour comic.
Is amazing, and it's because, and I honestly feel it's because that Anne is the most interesting character in Downpour, and I'm sad that she couldn't be
She
shown
is
more
probably
in
the
it.
most interesting character in Downpour, but she's not in it very much.
She's like Angela to me.
Yes, that's
I would really love to hear Angela's story.
Yeah, that's a
if
very
they
good
did a game based off of Angela's story, I would have eaten that up. You remember Angela from Silent Hill 2, right, Jade?
I do, yeah. The girl that you find in the cemetery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, knowing what exactly her story was would have been...
That would have been more interesting than...
Like, I'm glad that they didn't step into it in Silent Hill 2, because that would have fucked up the pacing of the story, but like, it would have been fun to hear.
I saw that when I was going to tweet out... When I was going to
well.
tweet out today, I saw this, which I'll put on the screen. I'll leave it there for a minute. And I thought of that character again. I'm waiting for the reaction.
Oh, no. This is wait. Noisy Hill. You need to watch this. You need to watch this one.
It's accurate though.
You can watch this one on stream. I think people will enjoy this one.
Okay.
But that's the thing about Silent Hill is that often, not uncommonly, in games, you actually want to hear more somebody else's storyline than the actual main character. Like, I would much... Like, Sybil I find far more interesting than Harry, for example, in Silent Hill 1. And I want to hear way more about her.
She's an example of a character who is not directly connected to Silent Hill, but is caught in the maelstrom.
Exactly. And her, I find her a fabulous character. I think she's incredibly strong. Right? And this is true of most of the Silent Hill games. I can't really think of an example of a game where I want to know more about the main character, someone else. I'd like to hear more about Claudia Wolf, for example.
Well,
what I mean.
Yeah, that would be really cool to hear more about Claudia Wolf as well. The player's novel that they made for Game Boy Advance that I linked, I believe, in the last episode, actually has a chapter that follows Sybil. So that you get the story of Sybil, you get the story of Harry, you get the story of the unknown character, little boy that knows Cheryl.
Sorry, I know this video. I'm pre-laughing.
I'm not a knife. I'm James.
Oh, James, you have the worst life. But you suck as a human being, so you deserve it. He is a truly wretched human being. Come on, Jay, can you just play 3? Because I'm sick of talking around this. Could you just get on and play 3? Fuck this Hollow Knight shit.
Soon.
This Dark Souls, never-ending Dark Souls anthology of death. Could you just play Silent Hill? That's not a knife. This is a knife. Etc. But seriously, do play 3. You'll love 3, in all fairness. I feel. I think 3 is really going to speak to you. Not least of which, because it's the first time when you're actually playing a girl. And I know that's not a big deal, and I know I go on about this far more than I should. But I feel like people have a closer connection to playing their own gender.
Yeah.
In games than having to play the opposite gender. Which is why I find it harder to play Tomb Raider than I do something with a male protagonist. And I feel like that's true of girls as well, which is why I find it so offensive. There isn't a female archetype for a female character or whatever, because you're just relegating 40% of the audience to playing a dude. Uncharted would be a way to play male Lara Croft. Agreed. Yeah, poor Angela.
Poor Angela.
Poor Angela.
I'm fine. It's fine. That's good.
No, not for you. Well, that's fair enough, Gobblepop, because we're not the same person. But luckily, I was only talking about me. But yeah, I think you're going to really connect with Heather. I think it's your kind of story as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Have I
forward to
played
it.
the Uncharted? What, me or Jade? Because Jade's played it. You probably mean me, Jade.
I think that's what he means, yeah.
I played the second one. The second one? Was that the one on the PS3? Was that the third?
They're all on the PlayStation. They're all exclusive to PlayStation.
I know, but is it PS3 or was it whichever one was on the PS3 I played?
The first three were on PS3.
They were all on PS3. That
The
doesn't help
fourth
me.
one was PS4, but
That was PS4. I've actually got that, but I've never played it. PS3, oh, fucking hell. I've played one of them. I can't remember which one. I played Anne. Everyone knows Femme Chef is Best Chef. That's just because Jennifer, what's her face, is the voice actress.
yeah.
And she's a better voice actress than Mark. Is it Mark Mears? But I still play Shepard most of the time as a male. It's just that female Shepard is one of the few games which I've ever played through as a girl when I had the choice.
Oh, that's all right, Jay. We needed to kind of deconstruct it.
It's okay. We needed to pull back from the edge anyway.
We'll definitely probably have a second one at some point because
Part 2.
that one I feel like
Part
that
two,
one was
the
just like throwing two
silent
cats
fire.
at each other for a bit.
Oh my god, there's gonna be like a fucking box, so we just keep throwing cats at it.
It's gonna get worse next time anyway.
So,
because next time we go away from Team Silent, which no matter what,
Yeah,
to accept is better than what came later.
it'll be an
And what came
interesting
later
one.
would be series 7 and 8 of the X-Files is what came later.
And I'm almost feeling like we should do a Resident Evil episode soon, and maybe that's our next one that we do on Adam's channel because that's where it'll be. And then in the future we do Resident Evil versus Silent Hill, where that's our return to both of them.
I tell you what we could do.
Yeah.
We could actually do it almost like a debate.
Yeah.
And one of us could stick up to Resident Evil, and one of us could stick up to Silent Hill.
Well, it seems like that's tailor-made for you guys because one of you loves more than the other on both
That's
sides.
true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Even
think that
slightly.
we both equally love Silent Hill. It's
Silent
just-
Hill, I accept
You both
to be better than Resident Evil.
You both equally love it, but I think Adam likes Resident Evil a lot more, right? Like
I like
that
Resident.
he prefers it.
Yeah,
I like Resident Evil more than Hill, but Silent Hill's a better game. Silent Hill 2 is better than any Resident Evil game, but I prefer Resident Evil 1 to any Silent Hill game. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm blind to the fact that many times better than 1. But Silent Hill 2 hasn't been remade in beautiful, glorious HD remake. Fuck you, Silent Hill. Was better.
Fuck you, Konami. Let's get this correct.
Yeah, fuck you, Konami. Because if that could, oh god, can you imagine if Silent Hill 2 was remade like the remake?
God.
God, I just came a bit.
Fucking yeah.
I shouldn't even say things like that. Now I'm sad.
You know what I dream when it comes to Konami is that eventually they'll
They all
fold and
die.
just sell off their assets
IPs,
so that
yeah.
somebody else gets Castlevania, somebody else gets Suikoden, somebody else gets
Oh,
Silent
yeah.
Hill, and then it just goes from there. That would be that day. If that day ever comes, you could expect that I will literally throw a fucking party where I will get wasted and stoned and just crazy and be happy.
Oh yeah, man. No, God, I just sorry, I've just lost imagining Silent Hill 2 being remade.
Someone else gets Contra. Yep.
Yeah, Contra, Mega Man.
Hey, Contra 4 was good.
Yeah, it was alright.
Not because my company made it or anything.
Sure. Contra wasn't the worst. Contra 4 wasn't. It's alright. It's not the worst.
Contra 4 is well known for bringing the game back.
It's not garbage.
Nice place.
I also admit to being a perv and admiring female characters' forms. So the reason that you don't have the problem, Corborp, is because you don't actually connect your character because you're thinking about fucking them.
Well,
that would be the reason you don't have any issue.
There's a difference between having playing a game and wanting to connect to your character and it being male or female or whatever you can connect to. I find that I can connect to male characters, but that might be because throughout my life I've only had mostly male characters, so I have to kind of figure out a way to.
Well, that's the thing. Growing up as a girl, you don't really have a choice.
Mhm.
but I also understand the idea that whenever I play 80 hours of WoW, I'd rather look at a female dark elf's butt than a fucking male, human's butt
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
I'd rather just generally not play WoW. Given half the choice.
But I'm saying that as like a general, because I was talking to somebody the other day about playing on Grand Theft Auto. Like, one of the reasons that I like playing my character Emma is because she's got that character model has a nice butt. Like, if I'm gonna look at a butt for 8 hours a day while I like stream a role play session or whatever, it's gonna be her butt that I want to look at. So just how it is.
You can do both, Adam. What you mean? You can connect on an emotional level with the character whilst penetrating
finding them
viciously.
attractive.
Interesting. I generally find that I can do one or the other. I can either find them sexually attractive or connect to them on an intellectual level.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Why? What? What? Was that weird? I don't get it.
You can find them attractive, or you can find them connect to them on an emotional level. You can't do both of them at the same time.
Not with people in a computer game. Jesus Christ. I'm pretending to be the computer game character. Look, women are only whores or, whores or compatriots. That's all there is. There's no middle ground, okay? And you guys should take that on the chin.
Can we get a clip of that, please?
Can we not get a clip of that? Can we not?
Please, I need a clip.
What did the yellow subtitles say this time?
I'm crying right now. I'm crying.
What did the yellow subtitles say this time?
Nothing. It doesn't have to be a subtitle.
No, but the yellow subtitles said something.
It just said the same thing that it asked the whole time.
Okay.
This side of you is really scary. Yes. My secret misogynism is coming to the fore now. Women are things for me to possess, or I have to take away their sexuality and make them if I want to be friends with them. That's what it is. Yes, that's the reality we're in right now.
I'm dying. I'm dying, Squirtle.
Well, this seems like a good place to
this was a good podcast.
end it up. This seems like a good place to end. That was Silent Hill. No.
Yeah, that's it. It's a game series that exists.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Neophan. I'll repost it. Hold on. Repost it. I'll permit you.
Crave you more. I haven't even got into my racism. My misogyny is enough for one podcast. Soon I'll get into all of the things Lovecraft was.
You repost it. There you go.
Filled with hate. That's me. For all mankind.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know what our next episode is going to be. We'll talk about it
in 2 weeks' time. Is anything going on over the next 2 weeks?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna go to calendar really quick. I do know that.
Why is anything actually happening?
Well,
when is Twin Peaks finish?
Our next, this is gonna be a while. Our next cast would be on the same weekend as PAX West. So if we wanted to, we could do it 3 weeks from now, and then we could discuss things that happen at PAX West.
That's not terrible.
Is anyone actually going to PAX West?
I'm not.
I would like to, and I have an opportunity that I may be able to go. They're going to be doing a fucking 10-year anniversary party for BioShock, and if I get to go, I'm fucking going to that.
Oh, we'll probably be doing this in 4 weeks anyway. So what's happening in 4 weeks' time?
Technically, I believe that Hold on a second. Call of Cthulhu game may be out by then.
If it is, I'm not doing this fucking podcast.
Well, it would be perfect because
I'll be busy.
It'll be perfect because it'll be on your channel.
Oh yeah, is it actually out though? Maybe.
Well, hold on. We're looking at when the date is supposed to be. I thought it had a release date on it. No, it just says fourth quarter.
Women aren't objects, but video game characters are. Yeah, that's the healthy way to look at it, Corbable. That isn't slightly worrying at all.
It doesn't seem to have releases in. Okay, for some reason I thought that had a September release date to it. Put at tag. I know there is a horror game.
Killed your friend.
September, but I can't remember what it is.
Good stuff.
We could always talk about. We could always just do like we're doing with Silent Hill, and we can bring up Amnesia or something, or we could maybe recap your top 10.
Yeah, let's not do Amnesia because I'm getting sick of picking on me.
Oh, sure.
When I say what is the best horror game.
Sure.
No.
There's your top 10. We can go over.
I've actually got my 666th episode in about 2 weeks, and I'm probably just going to do Silent Hill 2 for 24 hours.
Nice.
So we could do, and that would be the end of my top 10. So we could look at something in that arena.
Yeah.
Or we could look at.
We've kind of done top stuff already.
We could look at something like sci-fi horror.
That's true. There's quite a bit of that coming out lately.
We could talk about something like that. We could talk about like Dead Space and.
Do you guys like Ghost Theory came out, right?
Ghost Theory came out, yeah.
We could do like an episode where we just discuss games that we've actually played recently, like so we can actually go more in depth on like Observer.
Then you would have to play an actual horror game.
Oh, shut up. I haven't played them either.
And Jade would actually have to play a horror game as well.
Initial release date December 2017. It's not out yet.
Perception is already out. Yeah. For some reason, I remember
Emily
there
wants
being
to play too. Jesus.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it won't be out until December.
Yeah.
Ghost Theory.
Oh.
We could talk.
October 13th is for Evil Within. Why am I thinking that there was a game in September? I was thinking there was a horror game that was.
Oh, because Agony was teased around that area.
Oh, okay. That might be why.
If we're talking about space horror, Jade, we'd almost not be able to not talk about System Shock. Because that would mean we didn't know enough. Honestly. But yeah, any podcast on space horror would absolutely include System Shock. And System Shock 2. And then we'd stop and not talk about Dead Space because who gives a fuck after System Shock.
Well, we could loop in stuff that does bring in like cyberpunk, futuristic, those kinds of things. That loop into horror too, because we've not.
I think we should do cyberpunk next time we're here.
Yeah.
You know, and then we could talk about Observer, which will actually give you the chance to play Observer.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That would fit well on Abby's channel. Yeah.
Which is good. The new Alien stuff too. What? Like, well, yeah, we could definitely talk about Isolation because that's good.
Yeah.
And we could talk about Colonial Marines in terms of things not to do.
But we could just talk about the Alien franchise as a whole, including the game and Alien Covenant, which just came out on for rental.
Soma's set under the water rather than space, but I take your point.
Yeah, we can discuss it more. We can figure it out.
For Cyberpunk, it doesn't fit into Cyberpunk.
But we've officially reached the 3-hour mark, so we should probably
God, we are so bad at this.
Put a cap on this, yeah.
We are just terrible.
I didn't even scratch the surface of things that I feel about the first few games too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've got so much more we could talk about with Silent Hill, and we didn't even get on why Homecoming and Origins and Downpour are so terrible.
Well, we're going to talk about it in the future.
Yeah, they are terrible though, just in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah. Opinions. Okay, so what are we doing right now?
What are we doing? What's happening tonight? What are you guys up to?
I'm gonna be playing Dark Souls 3.
Where are you at in Dark Souls 3, did you say?
The Dancer.
Dancer, isn't it? Oh, so you'll be doing that for 8 hours.
Yep.
Pretty sick. Are you streaming tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick shower and because I've been cleaning my house all day before the cast, and then I'm gonna jump on. Probably I'm gonna do some GTA RP tonight.
Emma Finn?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be playing Emma Finn, which is my avatar. Somebody was asking what my avatar was on my for my channel. That's me cosplaying as my character from.
Okay, well, I mean, there's the entire wealth of Twitch that you could choose to go and watch, but you should probably just watch like Emma Finn or
Yeah.
Jade's
Jade.
character getting her ass plastered by the
Yeah.
dancer of the Bridal Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went somewhere else, that's okay. We just, wouldn't think you were a very good person. It's all right.
Yeah.
No,
I'll only judge you a little.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look down on you, but not much, just because you won't.
What's coming up for everybody? Is anything crazy coming up for anybody? Anything new and interesting? Any games you're playing there new?
Not
I've got
really.
War of the Chosen. I'm still playing, I suppose. Work on that superiority complex before the next podcast. I mean, you're like ash to me in the air, Masonic. No, we got that going on. I don't think there's any new horror particularly coming.
No.
No, not really.
Nothing that's super good.
Fortunately.
What are you playing next week then? Hollow Knight?
I should get back to it. It's like I feel like I'm stuck in these games that take forever, and all I want to do is get to like Metro and the stuff that I've been talking about for months already.
Oh, what, like Last Light or 2033?
2033 first.
Last Light's actually really ridiculously good. You've got like a beefy as fuck PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then Last Light on Ultra is actually mad sick. You'll probably love that game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Right now I'm not really sure because I'm just trying to get through a sea of this other stuff that I've been doing. So
I'll probably play Perception on Saturday next week. I would have played it this week, but then War of the Chosen happened. I might never stop playing that. I'm really pissed actually because I've got a second game that isn't my stream game going on
yeah.
at the same time, and it's just got like you guys like just streamers who are my friends as the characters. It's doing so much better than my game that has got my chat in it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, at some point, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, guys, you all died. By happy coincidence, though, I have this entirely separate game which is nearly complete. My favorite part of Watch Dogs 2 was two guys discussing how awesome Alien versus Predator stuff is. That's pretty good. And what else is going on? What are you up to next week, Avianna?
We're still going to be doing the TRP, the 2-year anniversary special short season, and then hopefully a new season will be starting soon. I'm going to be trying to get back into GTA because I was out of GTA for a while because I was vampire role playing, and then I'm also going to be moving rooms, and in the process, I might get a creative stream in there at some point.
Oh, what,
So,
you're moving into the other room?
Yeah, I'm moving into the other room, and I've come up with a way of setting it up so that my computer can literally be right next to my crafting area. So I'll have like my crafting area close to my computer again, which will make it so that like I have a few commissions that I have coming in, and I'll be able to work on those. Some of them are some Overwatch things, so that should be fun. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch lately in my off time. So
sounds like good times. All right, so we're doing this again in what, 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah, 3
or
4
4
weeks.
weeks,
Yeah,
Three or
we'll
4
announce
weeks
it.
time
We
sort of
got
thing.
stuff going on. So
Yeah, there's a load of shit floating around at the moment.
Yeah,
Well, no, I mean, like for the last month or two. First, I was moving house, and then
there's just been a lot of stuff. Like Abby's had some things going on. I've had some things going on. Like I
was forced to live on English time. I hate that shit.
We have the YouTube and the SoundCloud, so if you want to catch up on old episodes, like those are there too. So, yeah, I think that's about it though. It's good to get back to this. It's been a bit, so
It's been a good time.
Yeah.
We'll be back in doing this in 4 weeks' time.
Yep.
Go and watch Dark Souls or GTA roleplay as done.
Yeah.
By Jade and Avianna.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm running the outro.
Welcome to the Hellmouth.